Hey yo, what's good, family? I'm gonna start today off by sending a big shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to Factual Live for the 5 gifted. Shout out to Ali for the 5 gifted. Shout out to No One. And shout out to Chan My Black is Golden. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate the sponsorship. It's definitely greatly appreciated. And other than that, let's get right into it. What up, what up, what up? What up, Allie?
Well, isn't this a nice surprise?
No one in the
End of
building.
the conversation to even come speak to y'all.
Hey yo, peace family. Grand rising, good afternoon, great evening, and gracious nights.
Thank you for having the
Welcome to the source
Thank you for the $6.8
FOTG,
million.
and welcome
Let me be
back to
clear.
Fani Willis, the Vendetta, Part 6. Today, we're not talking about justice, we're talking about leverage. We're talking about a prosecutor who handed her enemy the exact weapon they needed. The issue is Fani Willis, and the core of the problem isn't the romantic relationship, it's the money. The Georgia Senate is demanding her testimony on November 13th, and the focus is on a deeper rot. The misuse of government funds. We're replaying a previous hearing that serves as the perfect blueprint for the attack on her entire office. This is more than just an appearance of impropriety. This is the paper trail that provides the justification for the political assault.
Breaking news in the Fulton County election interference case against President Donald Trump and others. This is just coming in. A Fulton County judge has issued a 14-day deadline for the Georgia Prosecuting Attorneys Council to find a new prosecutor for the case, or he says he'll dismiss it. This comes after the Georgia Supreme Court last month upheld a appellate court order disqualifying Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her office from the case.
So, the question is, did the DA who was so destined to take down the head of the American government empire use the government money to fund her own personal empire? Tap in, share with a friend. Let's dive into this committee meeting, see if we can discover the real agenda and why this hearing guarantees she loses the political war, even if she wins the legal one.
And I see Commissioner House been talking about, oh, we passing the lowest millage rate ever. Fuck the lowest millage rate. We gotta get these people locked up. They gotta be arrested.
Yes, indeed. Before we move on, let me send a shout out to those in the chat. What up, Trakisha? I see you. Appreciate you joining. Lady L in the building. What up, Lady L? Brown Sugar Babe. What up, though? I see you. Appreciate you joining. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights in the building. What up, though? I see you all. Appreciate y'all being here. Shout out. Oh, welcome back to the fam member for 2 months. Shout out to Trakisha. Appreciate you. Let me add you to the list. Much love to that. And let's keep it rolling. We're gonna get into the Senate hearing where this all began.
And thank you for being here with us today. Would you just introduce yourself and have Sharon introduce herself to the committee, please, sir?
I'm Rob Pitts. I chair.
Hang on, let me make sure I got you lit up here. There we go.
All right. I'm Rob Pitts. I chair the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County, Georgia.
All righty. And Sharon?
Good morning, Sharon Whitmore, the county's chief financial officer.
You can pull that microphone closer to you if you want to. We had a little difficulty last meeting. Sometimes the volume's kind of fading in and out a little bit. That will allow us to hear you clearly. And also this is being streamed live, and so anybody that may be watching on their computers at home will be able to hear the testimony that you give. I am going to start with a couple of formalities here. We have in your folders, ladies and gentlemen, the minutes from our first 2 meetings. The first one was held on February 9th, 2024. The Secretary of the Senate has prepared these minutes, and Maybe a little tedious of a job, but easy because we are recorded, and so it's very easy to verify the accuracy. I did notice, Senator Estevez, we misspelled your name on one of them, I think, and we'll two on both of them. We will correct that. And I told them, you being an attorney, it's going to be hard to slip anything by you on these, so we will correct those spellings as part of any approval of these meetings. Have you all had an opportunity? We sent these out in advance to review these minutes before today. Any committee members need additional time to review them before we take action? All right, then I am open for a motion to approve the minutes of the February 9th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
All right, I've got a motion by Senator Dolezal. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Kennedy. Any discussion or any review, proposed changes or corrections to the minutes of February 9th? All right, then all in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed, like sign? All right.
As a member of the Atlanta City Council, I served there for 20 years as a member of the Atlanta City Council.
Hold, and how long you've been in the chairman's post and any other political service before that, I think it might give some context.
Thank you, Senator, Mr. Chairman. I've been, as you've indicated, been in.
So this is the one that's one of the ones. I mean, this is the committee's board that gives Fani all the money. This is the one that loans her all the money, not loans her, but grants her all the money. So they here at the board meeting a while back, and this is going to start to expose some of the financial burdens that they put upon themselves a long time ago. Let's keep it going. Lady L, what up, though?
Involved as an elected official for many years. I look at Senator Butler, and I kind of count sometimes to figure out just who is still standing. And I'm sorry that you're going to be leaving us. But I began my political career in Atlanta as a member of the Atlanta City Council. I served there for 20 years as a member of the Atlanta City Council. Then I was elected as president of the City Council. I served 4 years as president. Then I moved over to the county, where I served for, I think, 12 years as a member of the commission, as a commissioner. And for the last 7 or 8 years, I have been privileged to serve as chair of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County.
All right. And as in that position, how often does your commission meet? Is it twice a month?
We meet the first and third Wednesdays of every month.
Okay. Is it part of the duties and responsibilities of the Fulton County Commission to establish the budget for the district attorney's office and some supervision of that office?
We establish the budget for the district attorney as well as all other departments for final approval.
And when you're formulating the budgets, does the district attorney submit to you a budget request for public funding?
The process, and I'll defer to our chief financial officer, but there's a process where the department heads appear before the manager and the finance team to explain their requests, and then from there it comes to us for final approval. You might want to clarify.
So the budgets of all the county departments, including the district attorney's office, are ultimately approved by the county commission?
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Whitmore, if it's okay with you, I may bounce back and forth between witnesses because I understand, as the chairman just deferred to you, there are areas where you have particular expertise. Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Brenda, I'm not going to make your life as miserable as you're sitting there thinking right now. Our court reporter is going to try to keep a transcript, but you will occasionally have to go back and forth between witnesses. I will have I'm going to have Ms. Whitmore later a direct line of questioning her, but I may periodically let her chime in here, okay? All right. Sharon, tell us a little bit about that, how that budgeting process works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Pitt's description is the general process. Actually, every department of county government, including constitutional officers and elected officials, submit an annual budget request through our budget development application. Those requests are reviewed vetted and verified through our budget office. The county's budget ordinance is designed in a way that the budget is developed and presented to the Board of Commissioners as a recommendation from the Office of the County Manager. So we have a review process that we undertake with the county manager and members of his executive team to review the requests that are presented. Typically, we provide each agency with a base budget figure to start with, and then they are allowed to submit what we call budget enhancements, where they can ask for additional resources to just continue an existing program, to expand an existing program, or to establish a new program or service. We also have a separate process that we run simultaneously as the operating budget for a capital budget requests, and there is a capital budget review committee that receives and vets all of those requests, and they are then in turn taken into consideration at the same time as operating budget requests, because we only have one pool of resources to use, so we consider all of those at the same time. So our constitutional officers and elected officials submit their requests through the same channels. Sometimes they may choose not to come and present to the county manager's office and then choose instead to communicate their budget needs directly with the Board of Commissioners. So that, in a nutshell, is the county budget process.
And when you talk about capital expenditures, is that like new automobiles for police departments, new buildings, new expenditures on things along those other than personnel?
Yes, sir. Rolling stock.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence.
Question is, does that include trips to Hawaii? Can we go on fancy trips with our lovers? Does that count as that Fulton County fund? Shout out to Trakisha. Appreciate you, family, for the membership. Shout out to No One. Appreciate y'all.
Stock, heavy equipment, facility renovation, new facilities, facility expansion, all of that would come through our capital portal process.
So when we talk about building a new county jail, that's a capital project.
That is one
Indigo Capra, what up, fam?
very significant capital project, yes, sir.
Can you give us just a feel for what the size of Fulton County's annual budget is?
All funds included, it's about $1.2 billion.
And do you have readily available what amount of general funds from the county are allocated to the district attorney's office on an annual basis? I guess we'll just talk about this year to start with.
In 2024, the district attorney's allocation was $36.6 million from the general fund.
Okay. Chairman Pitts has tried to explain to me that there are several.
From the general fund. Or the district attorney's allocation was $36.6 million from the general fund.
Okay. Chairman Pitts has tried to explain to me that there are several buckets of funds that are used to fund the district attorney's office. Would you kind of run that through for me as to what additional funding over and above the $36.6 million of general funds from county tax revenues that are allocated to the district
Yes,
attorney?
sir. The district attorney, in addition to the county's general fund resources, also has resources that are available through the confiscated asset forfeiture fund, as well as the Victims Witness Assistance Fund, federal asset forfeiture funds, and we keep all of these in separate funds.
Man, that's why I had to rewind it. Did you catch that, Trakisha? 36.6 million? What? What up, Joni 4? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family.
And then a number of different grants that come through the state and federal grant process. And then since really the middle of 2021, when we developed our spending program for the resources that we received through the American Rescue Act, the district attorney has also had resources available for what we call our Project Orca, which is our court backlog project that was funded out of our ARPA resources.
Okay, let me slow down on that one just a minute. Did you say Project Orca, like an orca whale?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that acronym, does that stand for something you could help tell us?
It's more I guess, visual than that. It just was intended to mean that it was a very, an orca is a very large ocean mammal, and the court backlog that we had as a result of the slowdown in the court system during the pandemic was also very large. So the individual who was charged with developing a program to address the court backlog named it Project Orca, but it is our official court backlog reduction program.
And this is funded through federal funds?
Through our ARPA resources, yes, sir.
Right. And the ARPA money was put in to sort of help all the states recover from the COVID epidemic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know the amount of ARPA funds that were allocated to the District Attorney's Office or the ORCA project?
I don't have that number available with me today, but I can share it.
And as far as the expenditures of that fund, is that anything that the county commission had authority or discretion over where the money went, how it was spent?
Specifically, is your question specific to the ARPA resources themselves?
Yes.
Yes, sir. They determined where and how our ARPA resources would be utilized. The county executive team made a recommendation, and the Board of Commissioners adopted that recommendation, and we have modified it over the course of time as we have continued to execute on our spend for the ARPA resources.
And one of the areas you allocated some of the ARPA funding was to this ORCA project.
Yes, sir. In total, about $75 million is what we allocated to Project Orca.
And who else was allocated funds through the ORCA project in addition to the District Attorney's Office?
Most of the partners from our justice system received funding out of the Project Orca resources. The District Attorney's Office, the State Court, Superior Court, Magistrate Court, Public Defender, the Sheriff's Department, I believe Juvenile Court received some. So we took a look across the entire justice system to see where we would need to plug in some additional resources in order to develop a work plan to, bring our backlog that had accumulated, to bring those numbers down.
So if $75 million was applied to the ORCA project, do you know what amount of the $75 million went to the District Attorney's Office? I
don't have the exact dollar amount with me. I can tell you that she did receive funding to cover 75 positions, which was the highest number of positions that were provided across the justice agencies. But I'm sorry, I didn't bring that. I don't have that number with me. I don't know it off the top of my head.
I'm not certain if we even requested that. I know that you are continuing to compile for me the essentially the ledger or roster of employees employed by the District Attorney's Office, and I suppose we'll be able to break this out as you compile that data, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So keep in mind, we also got coming up the dang, I should have grabbed her name before I started this. I forgot her name again. Y'all know I'm not good with names. But we got the one who testified against her and said and had the recording. She had some recordings of them dismissing the thing when she's telling them that they're using the funds for the wrong stuff. And they fired her, they lowered her down to a lower level first and then fired her and all that. Crazy. Jerome in the house. What up, Jerome? Y'all show Jerome some love. Appreciate you joining, family.
Do you have any idea how many employees in the District Attorney's Office now?
I believe she has about 277 employees, plus the positions in ORCA, so a little over 300, maybe 340.
And that would include assistant district attorneys and investigators and secretarial help, the entire spectrum of staff.
Yes, sir.
Will the ORCA funds expire anytime soon or be exhausted? I know if they came through ARPA, that's sort of winding down at this point, right?
Yes, sir. We are undertaking an effort currently to ramp down our ORCA spend within the $75 million that was allotted and within the general time frame that was provided for the spending to occur, which is 12/31/2024.
Right. So we're at the tail end, the last year of that, huh?
Yes, sir.
The way you described the budget process sounds very similar to the state budget process, where it's almost a continuation budget from the year before, and then there are requests for additions, increases if you need more staff or if circumstances have changed or need to make a capital expenditure.
Yes, sir. I mean, we tend to start from the previous year and build onto that. If a department received funding in a previous year that was not intended to be part of their recurring budget, then we make adjustments for that. That's why I said we provide them with a base budget, so that base budget each year will reflect the ins and the outs from, whatever transpired in the previous year's budget cycle. So if a department received funding for a particular
Ooh, she about to be in some shit, boy.
project or purpose that's not intended to happen on an annual basis, then we pull those monies back out and readjust and realign their base budget.
Okay. How much detail does the district attorney's office provide when they make their annual budget request? Is it fairly itemized by employee, by expenditure type, where it goes?
In our process, we provide them with a line item version of their budget in our budget development application. We provide them with a position summary. So we give them a report of all of their positions, and it's as of a point in time. And they are
Hey, no one, that's no question, family. You already know. You got to drop one.
required to
We need that heat every weekend.
make any corrections to that position summary report, because that becomes the basis for their salary and fringe benefit budget for the base year. And then they are allowed to go in and align the operating portion of their budget in whatever manner suits their operational needs. We do have a couple of object codes that we really do not allow them to deviate much from, because they are necessary to fund things like our risk management fund. So, we have an object code specifically for that. That's a rate times the number of positions that you have. So there's no deviation there. But they do have the ability to go in and adjust their budget. They are requested to provide details, contract names and amounts for specific contracts. So like our Department of Real Estate and Asset Management would come in and identify their contractors that they have and their contracts that they have for things like janitorial services. If they have professional service contractors, they would identify them. It is an ask. Some departments do a better job of others than, providing a lot of detail and support for their asks. So, we spend a lot of time and a lot of back and forth trying to understand, especially when periodic required financial reporting is complete, and that the drawdowns are completed on a timely basis, so that the county is not fronting that money for too long of a period of time.
And tell me what you just referenced, a single audit. What did you mean by that?
That's the audit that
They got audits out there. They be doing audits. Whoever doing their audits need to be looked at too. If they been missing all this stuff.
any entity that receives a federal grant is required to have completed on an annual basis. Our external auditors complete the single audit. It is a specific audit of all federal and state grant funds.
And is that broken out between your various county agencies and departments, including the district attorney's office?
Yes, the auditors have a requirement to identify major programs and audit on a risk basis, and so they determine what.
Hey, she is a big she do that after every other word. Trikisha be on it. I noticed that too.
Which programs may get a more thorough and very specific audit process, but all of the grants are included, and all of the information that they ask for is provided to them as part of that single audit process.
Is that a written document report that you would receive every year?
The single audit?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And is that a requirement of each agency, including the district attorney's office, to provide the requested data and information to the auditor?
It is, yes.
By reviewing that, are you able to pretty well track all of the spending of grant funds anyway by the district attorney's office?
At a summary level. It's not detailed. It just basically
Shout out to Brown Sugar Babe. I hope that night shift working out good for you, family.
gives you, the total amounts.
Of what was received and what
Expended,
was
yes,
spent?
sir.
Does it give a category of the spending?
I believe that it's just listed by the individual grants.
Okay. Would that explain or reveal to you what personnel was paid for by specific grants?
It is not, the report itself is not at that level of detail.
All right.
No.
Is that provided to you in any way? In your role as CFO, do you get to see, you know, which employees are funded by county money versus a federal grant versus a state grant versus a combination?
Yes, that information would be available.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Yo, y'all show some love to Jerome Street with the $20 on the Cash App. Appreciate you, family. Y'all show him some love, drop him some coins, drop some smoke emojis. Matter of fact, drop him some 100s. That's the Jerome Street. Drop some 100s and some coins in the chat. Show him some love. Appreciate you, family. Coming through with the dub spot. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the sponsorship, man. Y'all show him some love. Let me drop a Jerome one time, because Jerome in the house. Jerome always come through showing love. Appreciate you, family.
Watch your mouth!
Let me see. Let me give him one more. Hold on. Let's do one more. Just out of on GP. We gonna get right back to it, family. My fault, but I had to show Jerome some love. Cause he always showing that love.
Watch your mouth!
Appreciate you, family.
To me, again, when those grants are awarded and received, we establish the budget. If personnel expenses are included in the grant award, then the budget office will work with the recipient agency to ensure that the appropriate positions are created and established within the grant to ensure that they comply with whatever the application and the budget document that was presented to the granting agency.
Oh yeah, and the message was just sending it for the love. Appreciate you, family. Much love, much love.
Includes.
And we've had
Miss
conversations before
D56 in the building. What up, Miss D56?
morning as you've tried to explain to me some of these different funding sources. It seems to me like on a lot of the staff attorney or assistant DA positions and other investigators and other folks that are working for the DA's office, that their salary is paid partly by the state with a local supplement, a county supplement. Explain that to our committee so we figure this portion out.
Yeah, there are a handful of positions, assistant district attorneys, deputy district attorneys, investigator, maybe some legal assistants who are paid by the state and supplemented by the county. So we call them state supplemented positions. And I'm not 100% on what the total number is right now. I think it's somewhere between 15 and 20. I'm not sure which of those are filled. So that's part of the information that we have yet to finalize to be able to provide to you.
Still trying to break that out exactly.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what about an employee of the DA's office's health insurance benefits? Is that paid by the state of Georgia, the state health benefit plan, or by Fulton County's health plan?
Positions that are 100% county funded positions are paid by the county. I will have to have one of the supplemental positions pulled. At one point in time, under a previous district attorney, some of them were receiving county benefits. I'm not certain at this point with DA Willis if they are also receiving county benefits or not. So I will actually need to go and pull that information.
And what about retirement funds? I know state employees are eligible for state retirement benefits. Do you have county retirement benefits for these county employees?
Fulton County has a closed defined benefit plan that closed in 1999. If there are employees in the district attorney's office who were employed by the county and participated in that that plan and chose to stay in it, then they would be eligible for a defined benefit pension upon their retirement from the county. We also have, since that point in time, had a defined contribution plan in place that is available to full-time county employees. We have amended it over time to include or exclude certain groups. As we've learned, certain groups have been added into and out of other plans. So full-time employees have the benefit of that defined contribution plan.
And that would be at the cost to Fulton County taxpayers rather than state taxpayers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there may be 2 or 3 of us working as assistant DAs under Ms. Willis, and if I'm one of the state-funded positions, I would be receiving a different type of health insurance plan possibly and a different type of retirement plan than my colleague that's a supplemental employee that's funded by the county alone.
Possibly, yes, sir.
Okay.
I will confirm that in our response.
What about folks that are independent contractors of the DA's office, like a special counsel, special assistant DA? How are they paid?
They are treated as professional services and paid as if they were a county vendor.
And do you consider them then a county employee or a county vendor or an independent contractor?
Independent contractor with a receipt of a vendor payment.
Okay. And as far as benefits from those type of independent contractors, would they receive any health insurance benefits or retirement benefits at all?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you, in the county level, have any control over what they're paid?
No, sir. That's at the discretion of the district attorney.
Okay. Does the district attorney, and I'm going to shift back to you, Chairman Pitts, have to advise you of what's going on with these independent contractors that are being hired?
No, sir.
Okay. Do they have to request funding from you? And is that in the budget request that I need X amount for a specific prosecutor or as a category of assistance that I need to get from an independent contractor?
Well,
Talking about Wade now.
Trying to answer that question this way.
Big
First
ball
of all,
and Wade.
we have what's called outside counsel, and I'm going to make a distinction between outside counsel and a special prosecutor.
All right, explain that one to us.
Right. An outside counsel is hired when the county attorney determines that there's a need for assistance. She then, in this case, she will make a recommendation to the board and explain why she needs outside counsel. She makes that recommendation to us, and if we agree, and that's typically done in the executive session, and if we agree, then we will take a public vote and authorize the hiring on the recommendation of the county attorney of outside counsel. And
So
we have
did y'all do that for
range,
Wade?
an hourly rate. I'm not sure what that hourly rate is, nor whether that's really relevant, but there's a range that we pay outside counsel. And that's different from a special prosecutor.
Would outside counsel have anything to do with criminal prosecutions, or are they representing the county's interest in other type of matters?
Do
you know?
So, yeah. I got the right answer. I thought I was right, but I wanted to make sure. We don't hire outside counsel for criminal matters.
All right, that would be for dealing with other county legal matters that you needed extra help from somebody other than the county attorney's office.
Primarily civil versus criminal.
So who's the brains back there behind you you're consulting with?
It's a county attorney.
What's her name?
Sue Joe.
Sue Joe.
Yes.
And that's S-O-O and then J-O?
Yes,
I got
sir.
that right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Ms. Joe.
We'll be hearing from Sue Joe a little bit later. She gonna come up there and try to explain some of the stuff. Shout out to Jerome Street saying, we appreciate you, brother, for your hard work, and your craft is amazing. I appreciate that, family. I definitely do. Definitely do. Let's keep it on going, family.
For For those of you just joining us, we're reviewing the Senate hearing that lit this fire under Fani. The Georgia Supreme Court declined to hear her appeal. She is now officially disqualified from prosecuting the former/current president. This all began because the Georgia Court of Appeals saw a significant appearance of impropriety in her relationship with Nathan Wade. Her and Wade may have lit the match, but the fire is the fact that she lost her right to prosecute. And now the final countdown is on. Although they have changed the date about 3 or 4 times, Judge McAfee ruled that the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia has just 2 weeks to name a new prosecutor or the entire case is dismissed. Although Fani may be the first domino to drop, she's not acting alone. We know that DAs do this all over America. But what separates Willis is the arrogance of her response. Her statements, her dismissal of common sense may just be the failure needed to finally expose the whole system in their negative light. The commission's director confirmed over 100 complaints, probably a lot more than that, against prosecutors since 2024, yet not one has met the standard of disciplinary actions. Obviously, the bar is set very high, but yet she still managed to trip over it. Now, about that November 13th testimony, her counsel says she's available, but with certain limitations in the scope of questioning. She's trying to negotiate the terms of her execution. How can a prosecutor who appears to be lacking common sense be credible enough to be the lead district attorney of Fulton County?
Legal battle November 2nd. That's when the state Supreme Court will hear District Attorney Fani Willis's appeal challenging whether the state Senate committee has the legal authority to subpoena her, forcing her to testify and also hand over documents. State Republican Senator Bill Cowsert, he is leading this panel that has been attempting to dig into how the District Attorney Fani Willis's office used public funds during her election interference case against President Trump. For more than a year, Willis has resisted their subpoenas, arguing lawmakers did not have the legal authority to compel her. Now, a Fulton County judge ruled against her, and she took her legal battle to the state Supreme Court.
We're gonna keep it on rolling. Before we do that, real quick, let me send one more shout out to our stream sponsors.
News in the Fulton County election interference case against President Donald Trump and others. This is just coming in. A Fulton County judge has issued a 14-day deadline for the Georgia Prosecuting Attorneys Council to find a new prosecutor for the case, or he says he'll dismiss it. This comes after the Georgia Supreme Court last month upheld a appellate court order disqualifying Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and her office from the case. President Trump and the remaining defendants in the case have maintained their innocence. Now, this all comes as a special state Senate committee investigating Fulton County DA Fani Willis says she has agreed to testify. They will be sending her a new subpoena for November 13th. 11 Alive's Grace King shows us what they're hoping to uncover.
What about pursuing a case for personal profit?
For nearly 2 years, this special state Senate committee has tried to get Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in the room.
She is not above the law.
Now they have a date.
We'll be back here on November 13th at 10 a.m.
State Senator Bill Cowsert wants to ask DA Willis about her relationship with the special prosecutor she hired for the election interference case involving President Donald Trump. The state appeals court ruled Willis and her office must step away from the case over an appearance of impropriety, but Cowsert still has questions.
I'll be asking her, how would you recommend that we more specifically identify inappropriate, improper, unethical conduct?
None of the 100-plus complaints brought before the Prosecuting Attorneys Qualifications Commission in the last 2 years have had a formal hearing, though it's unclear how many of those involve DA Willis.
That's key. One of the things we've always been talking about, and myself as a former prosecutor is talking about, that the law really wasn't needed.
Still, Senate Minority Leader Harold Jones II says he's looking forward to Willis's testimony.
I think it'd be interesting to have her come up here. I think that's a good thing. She's been the center of attention so much, so it'll be good for her to actually come and get her side of it, so to speak.
Shift your attention a little bit to the resolution itself then. Because I'm looking at this as sort of 3 various grants of authority to this committee. Number 1 is this constitutional authority, whether specified precisely in the Constitution or just the implicit inherent powers that have been validated in the Dean and Bolton case at least. Additional statutory powers under the statutes you've referenced. Those would be not limiting, but in addition to this inherent or implicit power. right?
Yes, sir.
And then the powers given under this Senate resolution that was passed and became law authorizing this committee.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In that, can I direct your attention to that resolution? It's in each person's folder as well. Okay. On page 3, starting at lines 45, I'll just read, whereas such inherent powers include the authority to create special committees for the purpose of conducting investigations, and to endow such committees with all the inherent powers of investigation possessed by the Georgia Senate, including the power to compel the appearance and testimony of witnesses and the production of records and the power to place witnesses under oath or affirmation. Does that language specifically give us the power to subpoena witnesses to testify before this committee?
Yes, sir. It would appear to me that it does.
And to produce records for our investigation in the course of our duties?
Yes, sir. That paragraph does appear to be an explicit delegation of the Senate's inherent powers to this committee.
Is this in any way inconsistent with any statutory authority in Georgia or constitutional provisions in Georgia?
It is not contrary to any constitutional provision, and because it is the inherent power of the body arising from the Constitution, I don't believe a statutory provision could conflict with it.
Okay, so they do have the power to subpoena her, which we know, but they have been having meetings about it like they wasn't sure. But anyway, let's get on over to...
You have your counsel with you.
I still can't see her name. I'm looking for her name. Let me cut that down because that's super loud. What's her name? Amanda Timpson. That's her name. Amanda Timpson. Okay, Amanda Timpson. Let's get it. We're going to get into a little bit of Amanda Timpson. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
Mr. Mario Williams, everybody here today. We have testimony today from Miss Amanda Timpson. She was a former director of the Juvenile Diversion Program with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. She has voluntarily come forward back during the legislative session and presented information to me about the running of the DA's office and some misappropriation of federal grant funds. I subsequently asked her to give me some documentation to give me some proof of that. Come on in, Senator Estevez, sit wherever you would like to. And Senator Butler, you may sit at any place you want to. These are not assigned seats. If you have another place you'd prefer to sit, that's fine. Evidence, swear you in. You have your counsel with you, Mr. Mario Williams, is that right? And you may have things you would like to add as right hand, but the truth shall help you God.
Yes.
I do. All right. Madam Court Reporter, we're going to start with Miss Amanda Timpson, and Mario Williams is her counsel that's with her. Ms. Timpson, would you please just introduce yourself to the jury? You don't have to give us your specific residence address, but tell us where you live and who you're working for at the present time.
Sure. My name is Amanda Timpson. I am a resident of Fulton County, and currently I work for the Momentum Advisory Collective, a national nonprofit working with justice-involved youth.
Okay. Did you previously work for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
I did.
And what years did you work with the DA's office?
I worked with the DA's office from 2018 to 2022.
Okay. Would you give us just a little bit of background on your educational history, your educational background?
Sure. I have a bachelor's degree in sociology from Georgia State. I have a master's degree in human behavior from Capella University, a postmaster's specialist in community intervention, and several other certifications.
So again, this is Amanda Timpson. This is the whistleblower that exposed a lot of the stuff they got caught doing. I'll skip past some of her accolades, but yeah, let's get it.
Going education.
Okay. What was your employment history just generally before you became employed by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office? Point.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me about the funding. You mentioned that there were some general funds from Fulton County, and then there were federal grants that helped fund your position in this program?
So I was a my position was funded fully by the DA's office. And there were general funds allocated to rehab the building. The grant funds were allocated specifically to fund programming out of this building. So when we applied for the grant, we applied for it with the thought in mind that we already had this building and that we already had funds to rehab this building. So we got it contingent upon the building being there.
And what, give me an idea.
Shout out to Joni 4 in the building. Y'all show Joni 4 some love.
The amount of the grants, or where they come from? Federal government, some department? What's the?
Yes, there was one specific grant that was specific to the building, and that was the the 2020 OJJDP Gang Prevention Grant. And so that was given to us in October of 2020, and the amount was $488,564, I believe.
All right, so tell me what that stands for. OJJDP?
The Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention.
So was that something that you had a part in applying for that grant?
Yes, I helped co-write the grant. Myself, my colleague, and our grant writer all contributed to co-writing that grant in early 2020, I believe.
So you submit that to the Office of Juvenile Justice at the federal level?
Yes, sir.
I guess other DA offices around the country also can apply for these type of grants?
Yes, they're very competitive.
And you won. You got it was granted to you?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that amount was $488,564.
Yes.
What were the funds to be used for? Do you have to specify that when you apply for a grant, how much money you need and what you're going to spend it on?
Yes, and I think one of the reasons that we were awarded the grant was because our grant was so specific. So the grant consisted of us narrating basically the gang issue in Fulton County. So we broke it down by zip codes, by active gangs in those specific zip codes, by correlating schools that those gangs fed into, and then the age range was 12 to 17. So ultimately, the grant funds were supposed to be allocated for the programming that fit that age range, that population. And so the programming would consist of sub-awardees, which are other organizations that are doing the work in the community. We don't necessarily do all of the work. A lot of times we manage the work. But all of that was supposed to be done out of the gang center, if that makes sense.
It does. So you as the coordinator would have other private organizations that are charitable organizations wanting to intervene with troubled youth to prevent gang violence?
Yes, and in this situation, it was all nonprofits, and excluding Fulton County schools and Atlanta Public Schools.
Were they engaged or involved as well?
Yes.
But you didn't have to pay them for their services?
We did.
Some of these nonprofits you would provide funding to funneled through this grant?
Correct.
Okay. What are the rules around federal grants? You sound pretty savvy about that. Are there specific reporting requirements or spending limitations? What happens once you obtain the grant?
So once you obtain the grant, you have to provide a clear budget, and once you do that, they'll release the funds. Once you release the funds, you have to basically show your work, so that is manifested in a quarterly report. So you manage your sub-recipients, and then every 4 months you send in a quarterly report that basically illustrates what you've done with the money and ensures that that you're following the grant.
Right. And so that initial budget, do you have to lay it out to the federal agency how you intend to spend the money?
Correct.
They get to approve or reject that, or is that part of the application process?
A little bit of both. In the application, you outline what your intentions are, but you have a certain amount of time to go back and say, once you've gotten the award, say something doesn't work out, say a nonprofit closes their doors and they no longer can be your partner, then obviously you can find somebody else that does comparable work, and then they could fill that spot. But there's not a lot of leeway because they obviously give you the money for specific things, so unless you can ensure that you are still doing those specific things, then that's the only way that you can get an exception.
Was any portion of this grant intended for salaries or compensation for employees of the district attorney's office?
There was. Part of the grant was to, I believe, the community resource officer. On the grant, I believe 50% of their salary was paid by this grant, and so that was the only portion. Their salary and their fringe benefits were paid by this grant.
Was any of your salary paid for by this grant?
No, because I was a district attorney's full-time employee.
All right. When was that application submitted? You don't have to give me the precise date, but just the general time frame.
COVID messed up my dates, but I believe it was either the very end of 2019 or that first part of 2020.
And when was it granted, or when did you learn you had obtained that grant?
The last week in October of 2020.
Okay. And so Fani Willis would have been elected in the first week of November of 2020.
Yes, she was elected a week after.
When was the budget submitted that you mentioned, or the spending plan that allowed the release of the funding?
I believe that was in late January. Obviously, with the change in administration and it was still COVID, they understood and gave us some time, and I believe it was in late January.
All right. The full amount was awarded, the 488?
Yes.
Okay.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody get it.
Doing your role, are there other grants that you applied for as well?
There was no other grants that I specifically applied for. There was other grants that I helped manage, and if you want me to go into that, I can.
Yeah, we learned an awful lot at our last meeting about the Fulton County DA's office budget, that they get some state funds, they get their allocation or I don't know what you call it, their funding from the county itself, and then they get all these federal programs and federal grants as well. I'm trying to flesh out the federal part now, because the county knows, I think they gave them $36 million last year, and they mentioned a big $75 million amount of basically COVID funds that it wasn't all spent to the DA's office, but for the justice system. But I don't know that anybody really knows what the total budget is at the DA's office, or how much of that is funded through federal grants. And so I'm trying to get you to educate me a little bit. You knew specifically about this OJJDP grant.
Yes, sir.
You helped write it.
Yes.
But there are other ones that you would have helped manage or administer?
Yes. So the other one specifically that I helped manage was the JAG grant. So it's a Justice Assistance Grant. It's also a federal grant, but it's allocated to the state and then ultimately delegated to the counties, and then the county commissioners allot it how they see fit. For the DA's office, it was to fund the junior.
Yeah, that's her. That's right. I believe they did used to live together. Jerome, you right about that. That is her.
Your DA program.
All right, let me slow you down 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
I'm absorbing this information a little bit slower. You know it like the back of your hand.
Right.
That is a social justice assistance grant.
Yes, it's a Justice Assistance.
And that's why you call it a JAG, for the Justice Assistance Grant.
Yes, sir.
And that is distributed among various DA's offices in the state?
Yes.
Do you have to apply to the state to get that, or is that coming directly from the feds?
It's coming directly from the feds.
All right. Do you know if other DA's offices around the state of Georgia receive grant funds from that JAG grant?
I believe so. I just know it's the Edward Bryan Justice Assistance Grants, and to my knowledge, I believe that some, if not all, can get it, but I think it's based on need.
And do you know the amount of that grant, the JAG grant, for this? Apparently you used it for the junior DA program.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody get it.
Yes, correct. I don't know the explicit amount, and we have been trying to get that information for quite some time. I just know that it funded the junior DA program, which I believe yearly spent about $20,000. So it was a small grant for.
But she went ahead and was having the transition, hiring new people. All right.
Yes.
So Mr. Wade was on this committee that interviewed you?
Yes.
Was he employed by the DA's office at that time, to your knowledge?
I don't know, because I didn't know him. I just knew that he was, I would see him around the office, but also I just knew that he was one of the main ones leading the interview, and so I just took notice between Ms. Willis, Jeff DeSantis, and Nathan Wade, because they were the main ones leading the interview.
And who is Jeff DeSantis?
I believe he is her media personnel, but I know he's an attorney, but I don't know his exact title in her office.
Had he previously been employed by the district attorney's office?
No, he had not.
So he was a new player in the game?
Yes.
Okay. So your interview must have gone well?
It did.
And you were awarded the job?
I was.
What was the new job? You said there were 2 or 3 different positions you...
My bad about that sound. I did not mean to make it to go that high. I didn't actually. I don't know how I did that, but anyway, my bad. What up, Lenny Xavier? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family.
Looked at in the new administration.
Yes. So my new position was the Director of Juvenile Diversion.
So still working with troubled youth.
Yes.
Was that just a renamed department as the reorganization, new organizational chart went, or was it very similar in duties or something totally different?
It was a little bit of both. Similar because I worked with the same population, different in that it wasn't specific to gang-related or gang involvement, and also different because the focus of gang reduction kind of shifted, and it was a lot more just open, I would say, like as far as just any youth who were justice involved. So I would work a lot with juvenile court.
Okay, so not just specific to juvenile gangs, any juvenile problems or issues?
Correct.
Okay. Now, same salary in the new position, or
yes.
Okay. Was there any unit that dealt specifically with youth gangs under this reorganization, or it kind of came under your umbrella as the Director of Juvenile Diversion Programs?
Yes, there was, so it came under my purview, so there was no more gang-specific unit other than the prosecution unit, the gang unit of attorneys I am program, so there was no programs for.
We are kind of learning as we go how massive the DA's office is. Do you know how many employees totally in the Fulton DA's office?
I don't. Hundreds.
Do you know how many attorneys, assistant district attorneys?
If I even spoke on it, I wouldn't be accurate because I haven't been there in 2 years. However, I know there's hundreds.
All right.
At least
And
150,
it sounds like
I would think.
hundreds of support staff or other administrative personnel such as yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is in this new positions when you began reporting to Michael Cuffey?
Yes.
All right.
Well, you had that fountain running, huh? Had that water fountain running.
Did you continue to supervise the OJJDP grant?
Yes.
In your new position?
Yes. I was actually written into the grant as the grant project director. So no matter what I did, if that grant was valid, I would be supervising the grant.
All right. But you weren't paid through the grant?
No.
Right. And did you continue?
He said, wade in her water.
Continue running the junior DA program?
Yes, for a short time.
All right. All right. Well, as 2021 begins, you're in your new role that has the same duties and more, and you're now reporting to Michael Cuffey instead of Paul Howard.
Correct.
Did you notice any irregularities or problems with the administration of this OJJDP grant?
Yes. In early March of 2021, after a lot of the administrative work was done on the grant, we need to now get to work. And so Michael Cuffey, who is the new chief programs officer, invited myself and my colleague, who also co-wrote the grant, into a meeting just so he could understand the scope of the grant. In this meeting, this was the first time that he kind of mentioned that what he wanted to spend the grant on, and he articulated that he wanted to spend the grant on computers, travel, and swag. And at the time, we were saying swag, because there was a lot of rebranding going on. And so, like, each unit now had their own sweaters and their own mugs and stuff. And there was a complete and total rehaul of the building and stuff. So this idea of having swag was like a big thing. So those are the three things.
Trinkets. These are pins and coffee cups and T-shirts and sweatshirts, things promoting the new district attorney?
Correct. Yeah. And so I quickly kind of interjected and let him know that those were not things that we could do with the grant. At that point, it seemed as if he hadn't read the grant narrative, and so I just wanted to educate him. I was a bit concerned, but at that point, it was the first time I had heard of it. I just tried to kind of set him straight and tell him, like, oh, we can't do that. It's really specific, and it's specific to programming. We can't buy any equipment. And that was a huge thing because in the grant narrative, in the grant budget, it says specifically no equipment. And so his idea for wanting to get computers and even pay for travel, like, those are completely out of the scope of the grant.
Okay. And you know that because you wrote the...
Completely out the scope, but yet they made sure that's the main shit they bought. And she over here buying, paying $20,000 for a website and all types of shit.
Grant.
Correct.
And in the grant plan, you tell how the money is going to be spent?
Correct.
And in the budget, you identify how it's intended to be spent?
Correct.
Did any of those documents provide for spending money on swag?
No.
Did any of those documents provide for spending money on computers or other equipment?
No, sir.
Did any of those documents or budgets provide for money to be spent to identify how it's intended to be spent?
Correct.
Did any of those documents provide for spending money on swag?
No.
Did any of those documents provide for spending money on computers or other equipment?
No, sir.
Did any of those documents or budgets provide for money to be spent for travel?
No.
Okay. And how about on the junior DA grant? I think we called that the JAG grant. Were you continuing to administer that in March of 2021?
Yes.
And did you notice or detect or hear about any intentions to improperly spend that money?
Not in March, but as time went on, yes.
So what happened when you straightened Michael Cuffey out and after he had told you his intentions of how he intended to spend the money, you told him that was illegal? What was his reaction?
Initially, he let me know that it was the employees in the DA's office called Ms. Willis Madam. So he let me know that it was Madam's vision. And I basically said, okay, I understand that, but that's not what the grant says. And as a director.
Shout out to Jerome. I love this show. Appreciate you, family. Hey, shout out to No One. She could have sent you that $20K. Hey, that's a fact. I would have had her right. She needed to come fuck with your boy. I don't know where she spent that, but it did not work out well. All they gave her was like a Facebook. It looked like.
Of the grant, I wanted to make sure that I was careful and clear what the grant said. And this grant was written prior to her coming in the office. I assumed at the time that maybe they just weren't aware, but I just wanted to make him aware that that is not what the grant says.
Okay. Did you hear further conversations about the misuse of the money, or did he follow your advice and not spend it on swag and travel and equipment?
So initially, that was just the initial time. I continued to be persistent and to let him and everybody else know that we could not spend the grant in that manner. And he persisted to say that that was what we were going to do with the grant. In weekly meetings, we had weekly program team meetings. He would say that. So it was multiple people that heard his intentions to spend this money that way. And I was just persistent in letting him know that that was not what we could do. And I noticed as I persisted to let him know that my treatment drastically started to change. Yes, specifically from Michael Cuffey.
I'm talking. It's my time. It's my time.
In the form of being disinvited to meetings or being blatantly rude, or when I said, hey, we can't do that, just staring directly into my eyes and then just walking off. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't know, if this was an intimidation factor or what was going on, but I just knew I had to stand my ground because I was, fearful of the misuse of funds.
Okay. Well, so the story ends there, or did you continue your complaints?
No, I continued my complaints. Ultimately, in May of 2021, just the overwhelming retaliation and pushback got so bad, I sent an email to Ms. Willis and I told her that I had followed the chain of command to no avail and I really needed to speak with her. At this time, I believed that she had no idea what was going on, and I wanted to make her aware of what I thought to be a potentially illegal and dangerous situation, and I didn't want there to be any scandal related to her administration.
You sent that directly to her?
I did.
Did she reply?
She did not.
Okay.
But I believe 2 or 3 days later, Mr. Cuffey approached me and said that he knew that I reached out to her and that no matter what I did, that she was just going to come back to him. And so at that point, I didn't really know who to go to or what to do, because when I attempted to make her aware of what I saw to be an illegal situation, it was told directly to the person that was doing what I saw to be illegal.
Mr. Cuffey?
Mr. Cuffey, correct.
Did you complain to anybody else other than Mr. Cuffey in your email to Fani Willis?
Not in my initial email. Things started to progress as far as my retaliation. It was almost daily that it was something. If it wasn't something, it was something else. Eventually, the junior DA program started to near, and he started saying that he was going to be buying Apple products with the junior DA funds.
Apple products like Apple iPhones or computers?
Anything that I may have said, they exacerbated it.
Computers.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but he just really wanted these Apple computers. So I let him know that we couldn't do that with the junior DA funds either. And so he took me off the directing the junior DA program and put other people in my place. And then eventually
took her off the junior DA program. Like, you gonna tell me how to spend my money? How you gonna tell me how to spend my money? We getting some new computers, some new swag. We about to get fresh to death. We about to get out of here. What about the kids though?
When junior DA started in June of 2021, I noticed that there were youth in the program that were not Fulton County residents, weren't even residents of the state of Georgia. There were youth in the program from Florida, from Wisconsin. And so, of course, I questioned it. I felt like, our youth in Fulton County have so much need. Why are we not focusing on the youth in our county, especially when the grant and the grant application or the application to the program specifically say that must be Fulton County residents, must attend Fulton County or Atlanta Public Schools. So when I brought that to him,
We're still talking about Mr. Cuffey.
Mr. Cuffey, excuse me, sorry. So when I brought that to Mr. Cuffey, the next day I was told that we needed to have a meeting, and he attempted to put me on some type of a plan, like a professional development plan. I've never been written up, never had any warnings, so I
was wondering if you have a history of being a trouble.
Fuck them kids.
Maker in the
I do
workplace.
not. I do not. And in the evidence that I gave you, I also included 24 letters of recommendation from everybody that I've worked for in the past 12 years, including everybody here in Atlanta that I've ever worked for, saying the exact opposite of what's been stated of me. However, he tried to put me on some plan, but the plan was like a personal attack on me. It talked about my appearance, and it was just not professional. So I escalated my concerns to HR. Human resources, excuse me. So the HR personnel in the DA's office, her name is Kyra Banks. I reached out to her on July 7th of 2021, and we met on July 20th. And I basically told her all of my concerns, and she said she took notes and told me that she would escalate my matter. On July 23rd,
escalate in your view means take it up a ladder to
Yes.
a higher somebody above Mr. Cuffey.
Absolutely.
Okay.
On July 23rd, there was additional retaliation, and it was just so much. I was extremely anxious, even coming to work, because I just didn't know from day to day what type of retaliation I would receive. On July 26th, I reached out to Dexter Bond, who is the chief of staff in...
Uh-oh, not Dexter Bond. Who in here remember Dexter Bond? We're going to have to cover his testimonies again soon, too. As soon as they get a little closer, we might have to do a Dexter Bond show, because that dude is hilarious.
The DA's office.
To Ms.
I should have clipped
Yes.
him.
Okay.
And I reached out to Dexter because we worked in the previous administration together. He knew my work ethic, and I just felt like I needed somebody in the office to understand and know what was going on. And
what was his role with Paul Howard?
He, under Paul, I think he wasn't chief of staff. I think he was I can't remember his exact role, if I'm being honest, but he was a high up
position.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's an attorney as well.
He had worked in higher levels of administration for DA Paul Howard as well.
Yes,
before.
and I believe he worked with Paul Howard for like 7 years. So he.
Okay. So you reached out to him
Yes.
directly. All right, tell us about
And I told him there were youth in the junior DA program from out of the area. I told him how he treated me. I told him about the PDP. I told him about the OJJDP funds, and I sent him a copy of the PDP, and I told him specifically in a text. Well, I spoke to him in person, and then I sent him a picture of this professional development plan, and I said to him specifically that at this point in time, like, he's putting you guys in a situation where I have multiple potential lawsuits because of how he's treating me, and I said I need to speak with Ms. Willis because I don't believe she knows. That was, I believe, at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then about 5, he responded back to the PDP by saying, wow, period, this is a problem, period, and then text me saying, you have a meeting with the DA at 3 p.m.
This is in July of 21 sometime.
Yes, this is July 26th of 2021. And so immediately, you know, I felt like a weight was lifted. Finally, I'll get to let her know, because I felt like I was trying to, in part, protect her, protect the youth of Fulton County, and just protect the integrity of these grants. And so ultimately, at 3 p.m., I went to Miss Willis's office. Judging by Dexter was in this meeting, I could tell that she was already kind of briefed. And I went to, she said something to the effect of, "Now what's going on?" So I went to speak and tell her, I said, I'm concerned about the way the grants, and I think I said something else, and she cut me right off in the middle of my sentence and said, effective immediately, you're going to be moved, and demoted me to the role of file clerk. So immediately,
You went from a department head to a file clerk.
Correct, a program head. So I went from the direct.
She said, you pushing papers now. You in the wrong position. You thought you was supposed to be here. Nah, you in the wrong position, family. You was not about to be up here pointing out where we spending our money. It's my money. It ain't your money. Allie said, fam, it's smoke time. Just make sure you stay away from puddles when passing that. Allie dropped her smoke in the puddle yesterday during the live.
Director of Juvenile Diversion to a file clerk, which changed not only the function of my job, it changed my schedule, changed my location, it changed, I mean, this is frivolous, but I was taken off the website. I was essentially like banished for what I saw to be protecting her at the time.
Did she say why you were being demoted?
No, not at that time. The meeting lasted maybe 2 to 5 minutes because she cut me off immediately and told me I was demoted. So I was kind of left flabbergasted, and I reached back to her that evening via email just to get some clarity, and that was the first time I ever heard that she was saying that she wasn't pleased with my work. And it's important to note, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, I feel like we're already there, but it's important to note that 3 weeks prior to this, she had just asked me to assist in another department. So 3 weeks before, she wasn't dissatisfied with my work. So it was shocking to me that suddenly she was dissatisfied with my work the day that I disclosed that I was concerned about the way these funds were being spent.
You have mentioned several times about retaliation. What type of conduct or actions were aimed towards you that you felt were retaliation? This demotion's pretty clear cut, but were you being treated differently by Mr. Cuffey or Mr. Bond or any other supervisory type employees?
Yes. Treatment as far as, like I said, being disinvited to meetings, just the added.
Joni Ford said, my XP ain't changing. Hey, I'll be noticing that too. Sometimes that it don't be going up. I don't know what's up with that.
Of when I would ask for things or ask for additional like guidance or feedback, it wouldn't happen. I also, in addition to, I sent him an email because he was essentially stifling my work. I was completing tasks that Ms. Willis had.
Look, but it's all right. The ICM coin's still working. You still getting coins over there.
Asked me in previous meetings, and I would be asking him like, hey, did you get this to her? Hey, I've had this done. Did you look over it? I'm waiting for your feedback. And I was just essentially put on the back burner. Also, like the PDP, the demotion was the first act from Ms. Willis directly. And then after that, because of the change in my work schedule and the change in my work location, I had asked for accommodations or a different setting because they were rehabbing the building, and it was causing me some health issues because I have pre-existing condition. And I was told no, and told if I brought it up again, it would negatively impact my future evaluations, which would impact my employment. And about an hour later, my laptop was confiscated, so I couldn't work from home even if I wanted to. Sometimes I would come to work and
the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Man, they took her laptop and everything. My laptop was confiscated. My laptop was confiscated while y'all buying new computers. What up, Rock Solid TV? I see you. Appreciate you joining. Hey, y'all go check out Rock Solid on Kick and on YouTube, and also check out the Flesh of the Gods. Flesh of the Gods on Kick. The links are in the chat. Shout out to No One for that. Appreciate you, family. Let's keep it rolling. Shout out to our stream sponsor.
Now, as a file clerk, I would literally be putting thousands of documents into alphabetical order and then creating an Excel spreadsheet.
What department were you in as a file clerk? Were you changed to a different department or just removed as program head and kept in that same juvenile justice department?
No, I was moved to record restriction, and then ultimately I became the file clerk liaison between pre-indictment, pre-trial indictment diversion for adults and the record restriction. So stuff I've never done or have any type of...
Record restriction is what us old guys used to call expungement from your record. Okay, now they restrict your record so people can't see about your prior convictions or charges against you that you've resolved through a pretrial diversion program or first offender plea, something like that.
Yes.
Okay. Totally different than what you were trained to do, your interest, your background, and your experience under Paul Howard's office.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I didn't receive any real training, so I couldn't go into certain systems. The only thing I could really do is put things in alphabetical order and put them into Excel spreadsheets, and that's what I did. And there was 2 occasions where I came to work and the over 1,500 documents that I put in alphabetical order were now all in disarray. So things like that, to where it just made coming to work a very anxious event.
Okay. Did you ever have any further conversations with Ms. Willis where you expressed your concerns about the misuse of federal funds?
I did. So on November 19th of 2021, I had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Willis again. And because of the fact that the first time I spoke with her regarding these funds, I was demoted, I decided to record her.
She decided to record her, and yes, we got the recordings, and I got it queued up. We about to get to that right next, family, as soon as they finish talking about it.
And
don't forget to hit that like. Let's keep it going.
I think it was just because I was fearful of what type of retaliation even bringing it up would have, but also, again, like my track record with her was the last time I did this, I was demoted. And so I did have a chance to speak with her, and I told her.
Was that an in-person conversation?
It was an in-person conversation.
How did you record that conversation?
On my phone.
All right, tell us about that conversation.
Yes, sir. I just spoke with her and told her about my concerns with the grants and how I knew that the grants were allocated for a specific purpose, and the way that Mr. Cuffey was essentially stating that he wanted to spend the grants was illegal. It was impossible under the grant.
You know what? Fudge it. Let's get into the phone call real quick. We got the phone call queued up. Let's get it going.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
It's no visual, so I'm gonna sit on this screen while we listen to it. It's a short call. I mean, it's not a phone call, but the recording. It's only a couple minutes. Here we go.
If you had to give me a sentence, what is the sentence theme?
Once I told him about his, respectfully and in an email, about his lack of leadership and the fact that he wanted to do things with grants that were impossible, and I kept telling him, like, we can't do that, and questioning stuff. He would take me off projects, tell people I wasn't doing what I was supposed to because I questioned him. Because I understood, I helped write that grant. I knew what was in that grant. He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're gonna get MacBooks, we're gonna do that, we're gonna get swag, we're gonna use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffey respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying. That is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffey were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffy, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration. He tells people, when I reached out to you, he told me, oh, you think your word is safe? Exactly when you reached out to Miss Willis, she called me and told me, she tell me everything. So once you reach out to her, she's going to reach back out to me. So I didn't even go to HR because he put Dexter's name on my PDP, and I didn't even feel safe going to anybody.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 supervisors that have failed in this building. What's interesting to me, because I'm in a learning curve too, they each pretend to have a relationship with me that they do not have.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's an intimidation tactic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that you felt that way, but you, Dexter certainly don't have no relationship with Michael Cuffy. You were safe to go those places.
So that's all they got on there. I'm gonna see if I think they got a little more. I'll see if I can find it, but I don't think it's much more. But that's basically the gist of it. We can get back to it.
And she said that she didn't disagree with me, and she said she really wanted me to listen to the words that she was saying, that I wasn't necessarily wrong, essentially. And then she proceeded to tell me that Michael Cuffy had failed in her administration, and that everybody who does that essentially pretends to be her friend. And I just went on to say that I felt like there was some, I think I said funny style business going on, and I just wanted to ensure that she knew, and she proceeded to tell me that, things take a long time to get to her. It's a new administration. But not once did she ever say that I was wrong. Not once did she ever say that I was off base or that what I was saying was untrue at any point in our conversation. And so that was November 19th. December 7th of 2021, I wrote her an email, and I CC'd Dominique Martinez, who is, I believe, one of the county attorneys, and I just kind of told her, what I had experienced in the office, and that how my treatment had brought me a significant amount of anxiety. I thought that I was going to ultimately retire from the DA's office, and it made a place that I used to be proud of working at hell for me, essentially. I never received a letter back or any notice that she even read it. And then in January, I don't know if you want me to go that far.
Oh, you're doing great.
Okay.
Now you're up to January of 22.
Yes.
So you've been still working there for a year. You just got demoted and essentially harassed in your employment.
Yes.
And taken off of websites and cut out of meetings, et cetera. Okay.
Absolutely. And so in December 22nd of 2022, I was actually sent home due to COVID. Somebody was exposed with COVID, and they knew that I was unvaccinated, so I was sent home. And then I got sick, and when I get sick, I get really, really sick. And so I returned back to work on January 12th of 2022 with multiple doctor's letters, because that's what they asked me for.
If you weren't contagious with COVID or whatever.
Yes, I was actually told to quarantine for 10 days and then come back. But it was obviously during the holidays, because I was sent home on the 22nd. And then I came back on January 12th. And January 14th. On January.
Okay, she's starting to get carried away with her too. The Just don't say nothing. Just be silent. Take a breath. You don't gotta say
12th, I got my leave slip signed and all that good stuff.
We don't know what that means. What's a leave slip?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. When you leave from work, so I produced my documents from my physician, and then they signed.
Excused absence, basically. You had your doctor's note.
Absolutely. Okay, and then January 12th, I made my third. I kind of have to go back. January 12th, I made another request for health-related accommodation, but I also, during this time, if I could go back, December 2nd was my first official complaint with the DCRC, which is the...
Okay, we got to slow down on that. That's the Office of Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance?
Yes, sir.
Is that a county office?
Yes.
And y'all refer to that as the DCRC, is kind of the vernacular as for county employees?
Yes, sir.
When did you first complain to them?
I first complained to them December 2nd of 2021. And I made another complaint, I believe on December 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then I made my third, well, let me get to the January 14th. So January 14th, the January 12th email that I sent regarding my health, I CC'd one of my supervisors. At this time now, I have 3 supervisors because I'm working in multiple departments. And on the morning of, or on January 13th, she asked me what it was about, and then January 14th, she asked me into her office just to make sure I was okay, or so I thought. So I had a discussion with her. I had a pre-arranged meeting with the director of the DCRC, Niger Thomas, at 1 p.m. on January 14th of 2022.
Okay.
Following my conversation with Miss Ramona Toole about
the supervisor that you talked to?
Yes, she was my supervisor. I essentially, unfortunately, told her everything. I just told her, what was going on. I told her about my health issues. I told her about the retaliation. And so following that meeting, I had my prearranged meeting with Miss Niger Thomas. I went to that meeting with Ms. Niger Thomas at 1 p.m.
She is the director of the Office of Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance.
She was at the time, and now it's Melissa Cathrell, but she was at the time. And I went in there to speak with her about the whistleblowing and how ultimately the whistleblowing led to all this additional retaliation. And I was in her office for probably about 90 minutes.
The whistleblowing was bringing up the misuse of federal funds.
Correct.
Okay.
And so I was in her office for about 90 minutes. While I was in the office with her, I received to my county phone a request for a meeting request for January 18th at 2 p.m. From Ms. Willis and Dexter Bond. I told Miss Niger Thomas in that meeting that I did not feel safe going into that meeting by myself, and she said that she would have a member of the Fulton County Human Resources Department accompany me to that meeting if I didn't feel safe. And I asked.
Did Ms. Willis tell you in that phone text the purpose or the reason for the January 18th meeting?
No, it was just it just came to my email from my phone, from my county phone.
So it was an email.
Yes, and so. I guess I left that meeting scared, but kind of glad that I felt somebody else was essentially like in my corner to advocate for me. Somebody would be with me at that meeting on the 18th, so I wouldn't be by myself. And I went back to my area and continued on my Excel spreadsheet that I started that morning. About 20 to 25 minutes later, there's like a knock on the side of the thing. And they said Capers Green, who was the chief investigator for under Ms. Willis, he said, Ms. Timpson, I got some unfortunate documentation for you. I need you to get your stuff, and we're going to walk you out the building. And he handed me my termination letter. And
immediately after you meeting with the director,
my chief investigator for under Ms. Willis, he said, Ms. Timpson, I got some unfortunate documentation for you. I need you to get your stuff, and we're going to walk you out the building. And he handed me my termination letter. And
immediately after you meeting with the director of the Diversity and Civil Rights Compliance Division.
Yes.
Do you think she ratted you out or told him that you were making these complaints?
I believe that Ramona Toole, in the conversation that we had that morning, went directly to Ms. Willis, and I think that it's possible that Niger Thomas said something. I cannot speak to that, but I think it's more likely that Ramona Toole, who is a good friend and ally of Ms. Willis, must have went to her office and let her know that I told her what was going on. And ultimately, I was walked out of the building by 7 armed investigators and given a letter that was completely...
Not several. She said by 7 armed investigators walked her up out the building.
It just says that
immediately terminated.
I'm an at-will employee and that my services were no longer needed.
Did they have a reason for your termination?
They did not include. I didn't receive a separation letter for almost 2 months because they refused to give that to me. But when they did, it just said employee discharge. So I had no understanding to this day because ultimately the PDP that Cuffy had written was, Ms. Willis did say that was null and void. He didn't follow proper channels. There was no documentation. So
So
there
it
was
wasn't for
no,
that.
I have never received a warning in the almost 4 years that I was at the DA's office. In fact, the opposite. I have received praises from both Ms. Willis and Mr. Howard. My entire time at the DA's office, I've never required or received any disciplinary action on any level outside of the retaliation and ultimate termination from my job.
What are the DA's office's rules about retaliation for raising issues or whistleblowing or bringing irregularities to their attention? Does the DA's office have a personnel policy, or is it covered by Fulton County's personnel policy?
My understanding is, well, at the time that I was fired, under Ms. Willis, they didn't have an employee handbook. That was something that was still being worked on, so there was no policy, so we fell under the Fulton County policy. And under Fulton County policy, it's my understanding that it's unlawful, just like it is in the state of Georgia, to retaliate against, demote, or provide any adverse employment actions against somebody who is blowing the whistle.
Okay. And after that, you're out of work?
So yes, after that, I'm out of work. As a last attempt at retaliation, the time that I had been out sick was now reported as leave without pay. That's what they classified it under. So I was for a while until I was able to correct it with Fulton County outside of the DA's office. So they took over, I think it was $4,000 of leave without pay. They kept me on as an active employee without pay, so I was unable to get any unemployment, and so just to keep, myself and my family afloat, we had to tap into my retirement. Once my complaint was actually filed, Ms. Willis made completely slanderous and libelous statements against me. So anybody that essentially Googled me for a job would ask me in interviews, what is this about? And anybody who's ever hired anybody knows that it's already a gamble. So if somebody in a position of authority is saying that this person is inadequate, they may likely believe that. So it made my life extremely hard, and my family's life extremely hard. And just, for me, I'm here today to fight for my reputation, to fight for the youth of Fulton County, but also for the truth, because, I did everything that Fulton County requires me to do to be essentially protected. I did everything that the DA's office requires you to be protected, and I wasn't every step of the way.
How many jobs did you apply to?
To get the job that I'm at now, I applied to over 1,000 jobs just so somebody would hear me enough for me to be able to get back into a position that was even halfway comparable to what what I did before. And I've been, I worked it like I was working a 9 to 5. I applied and I made sure that every single day I was intentional about what I was doing so that I could mitigate what had been done to me and make sure that me and my family were okay.
How many months were you out of work?
I think total it was 5, but then after that, it was the initial job that I got was just a floater job, essentially to make sure we didn't lose our home and stuff. But it took me until September of 2023 to land a job that was comparable to what I had at the DA's office.
Okay. And you ultimately filed a whistleblower lawsuit.
I did.
And that's Mr. Mario Williams is your attorney here with you today.
Correct.
Is he handling that lawsuit for you as well?
He is.
Okay. I'm going to ask him some questions, and we're going to take a short little break.
And are human. I think judges are human beings. We are living in a culture of fear.
Hey yo, peace family, grand rising, good morning, great evening, lovely nights. Welcome to the Source FOTG, and today we're talking about the ultimate price of power. We're not talking about money, we're talking about fear. The Supreme Court shut down Fani's request for an appeal with a 4-3 vote, not to even hear it. The single action confirms the disqualification of Fani Willis and her entire office. We are talking about the consequence of indiscipline in the highest office of justice.
I think you have both prosecutors, citizens, and even judges that are afraid right now for good reason, and so it didn't surprise me. There's many members of that Supreme Court I'm very fond of, but they're human beings, they have families, and I'm sure they were afraid to do anything other than that.
Let's start with the hard truth. The legal hammer fell because of a choice. The romantic relationship between Willis and Nathan Wade. Defense attorneys called it an appearance of impropriety. I call it a fundamental breakdown of professional discipline and foresight. Bang, bang. So now keep in mind, this was all Willis's choice. She supplied the opposition with the exact weapon they needed.
Quote, she refused to accept the odor of mendacity. found by the trial court and simply expected the Georgia Court of Appeals to gloss over it, unquote.
Politically, it's a hot potato.
The Georgia Court of Appeals used that flaw to remove her and her entire office. The consequence was not a legal mistake. It was an inevitable political outcome. And now she claims refusal to hear the appeal, the 4-3 vote, was due to a culture of fear. Even if she wants to blame it on political pressure, she can't escape the fact that her personal choice is the initial weakness that allowed the political fear to succeed. But the pressure continues. She's now facing political inquiries. The DOJ has subpoenaed her. The Georgia State Senate Committee demands her to show up on November 13th to testify about her travel records. She is now under fire from all directions because she handed the match to her enemies.
The reality is it's going to be hard to find a prosecutor that's not afraid to prosecute that case when one of the primary defendants is threatening anyone that would dare to prosecute them. Not only do they not have the resources to do the case, but there's fear-mongering going on right now.
And so the fallout of her indiscipline now falls on the entire state. The Prosecuting Attorneys Council must find a replacement by the November 14th deadline. And of course, they are struggling with that because who wants to step into a fire that the previous prosecutor herself helped ignite? The new prosecutor, if one is found, holds the destiny of the entire saga. Will they continue? Will they modify? Or will the political price force them to drop the charges entirely? This system is paying the price for the personal failure of one leader. This is the judgment of consequence. You cannot ask others to uphold the law when your own behavior compromises the mission. Willis's choice was the ethical crack that allowed political pressure to seize control. The pressure worked, but only because she gave them the ignition to light the gas. The payment for poor discipline is always consequence. This is DaGod LOKO. Tap in now for the full breakdown and unfolding of the unnecessary judgments. Until next time, family, stay vigilant, stay fresh, and stay blessed. Peace out.
I think judges are human beings. We are living in a culture of fear.
And today is the 18th, so I may do a members only live with some of the updates of the Nipsey. I haven't actually finished it yet because I want to put some more time into it, but I may do a members only live at the end of this so y'all can get a sneak peek of that. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Let's keep it rolling. Oh, that thing closed. Okay. Right.
And became law authorizing this committee.
Yes, sir.
In that, can I direct your attention to that resolution? It's in each person's folder as well. Okay. On page 3, starting at lines 45, I'll just read, whereas such inherent powers include the authority to create special committees for the purpose of conducting investigations, and to endow such committees with all the inherent powers of investigation possessed by the Georgia Senate, including the power to compel the appearance and testimony of witnesses and the production of records and the power to place witnesses under oath or affirmation. Does that language specifically give us the power to subpoena witnesses to testify before this committee?
Yes, sir. It would appear to me that it does.
And to produce records for our investigation in the course of our duties?
Yes, sir. That paragraph does appear to be an explicit delegation of the Senate's inherent powers to this committee.
Is this in any way inconsistent with any statutory authority in Georgia or constitutional provisions in Georgia?
It is not contrary to any constitutional provision, and because it is the inherent power of the body arising from the Constitution, I don't believe a statutory provision could conflict with it.
$1,000 in salary savings, Madam CFO.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Hey, this is one of my favorite meetings coming up. This is one of my favorite meetings. I don't know if y'all know about this one, but shout out to Joni4 and Ali for dropping 5 gifted memberships each. Y'all dropped them some coins and some Blue Jays and some what ups. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the sponsorship. And happy birthday, Auntie. Happy birthday, Trakisha Auntie. And y'all show some love to Joni 4 and Ali, appreciate you, family. Drop some blue jays and some what ups and some smoke emojis in the chat. Let me blaze up and let's keep it rolling. Appreciate you.
He calculated $617 for the salary
I'll take the
savings.
$617 because I was told I can't use anything.
All right, so $617 it is going.
He calculated $617 for the salary
I'll take the
savings.
$617 because I was told I can't use anything.
All right, so $617 it is going once, going twice. All right, and so you're gonna move forward with these positions to help the district attorney try these cases, because I heard you loud and clear when you said that over 1,000 people could bond out and get back in the streets, and these are serious crimes. These are not just, I jaywalked, I spit on the ground, I'm loitering. These are serious crimes, and I don't want to see not one of those people get released out just because we didn't do what we needed to do financially for your office. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Commissioner Hall, I would ask with my brother that I could be on the next agenda so that the other pot that I want to deal with, because we have been strictly told that money is for COVID, and it's all right because I have enough to do with COVID, that we can ask for the other 2.5 that I referenced in the PowerPoint to deal with the rest of the cases. And so I would ask to be on your agenda.
So let me ask that Alton never came back. Well, let me ask this question, Mr. County Manager. In the COVID-19 plan that we just passed, it says that there's a court case backlog line item, but it only is speaking to cases. Is there, can we add a line that specifically addresses these areas for the sheriff and and Madam DA? And can someone confirm if we can use, whether or not we can use ARPA funds for what they're looking for? Because as I stated in the last meeting in June, reading the ARPA website information, it said specifically that President Joe Biden set aside these funds that are that can be used toward law enforcement and can be used toward preventing violence and funding peace. So I would like to see that you go back and add a line.
To be clear, first of all, thank you, Madam DA. And I said this repeatedly, we got the baddest DA in the country.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
So the line, I didn't just come up here to be cute. And this vest is for a reason, because I had a county commissioner say that sometimes sheriffs talk big. See, I don't play one on TV. I am the sheriff of Fulton County. I'll be on the street tonight fighting crime. Yeah. We started putting people on the street long before tonight, working with APD, working with Georgia State Patrol, creating a scorpion team that's going to fight crime. We're going to I told Madam DA, we're going to fill your desk up. We're going to fight crime, and we're going after these bad guys. Some of y'all thought I was playing. A Bearcat. After I work, go through the process.
Need that Bearcat. Chiquisha, you don't know who this is? You don't know about Sheriff Labatt? He the one running all the down there, and they need some more money. Actually, they gave them what, 3 million or something like that? 3 billion? Hold on, let me look that up. I think it was 30 million. I got a clip for that too, actually.
Get these. We're going to fight crime, and we're going after these bad guys. Some of y'all thought I was playing. A Bearcat. After I work, go through the process. Get these blocking the street. But I can't get a Bearcat. After I work, go through the process. Mr. Davis, thank you. I appreciate that. Of playing you all's games in finance. Because that's all they are. Everybody wants to move the goalpost when we get to the end. It ain't your money. It's been approved here, and I'm going to spend it accordingly. And the next time, it ain't your money, Ms. Whitmore. Everybody wants to move the goalpost. It ain't your money when we get to the end. It ain't your money. It's been approved here, and I'm going to spend it accordingly. And the next time, Ms. Whitmore, and I've sent you emails, and I appreciate you responding. Eventually, and let me be clear, when I sign my name as the sheriff, which one of y'all, when you sign something on your staff, write a check, Ms. Whitmore and her team rejects? Because we just haven't done it that way. Ms. Whitmore and her team rejects. Because we just haven't done it that way. When I work a deal to get a Bearcat so that I don't have an MRAP breakdown on Georgia 400 on the way to a SWAT call where a guy has been charged with killing 28 people. With killing 28 people. Ends up killing himself. My MRAP sitting on the side of the road. But I put a plan together, following the rules. This county manager, I appreciate it. But it's like pulling teeth. It is absolutely absurd. I do want to give a shout out to the county attorney and her team. The 11th Circuit ruled in our favor today. Hopefully you can give the board some update on that, because it's good news about how we treat people. See, I didn't
You see his shout out?
just get circuit ruled in our favor. I appreciate it. But it's like pulling teeth. It is absolutely absurd. I do want to give a shout out to the county attorney and her team. The 11th Circuit ruled in our favor today. Hopefully you can give the board some update on that, because it's good news about how we treat people.
Y'all see the lady in the back in the green keep on laughing at him?
See, I didn't just get in here to walk around. We are going to handle our business. This is what we'll do to fix it, Commissioner. And so we thought it, my sister and I thought it our duty to give you what we honestly said we were going to give you from the beginning of taking office, is the hard facts, the truth. I appreciate the time. I do indeed. I appreciate you taking my call. I appreciate, Chairman, every meeting we have. No one has not been responsive to the call. It's time to vote. It's time to put the rubber on the road. It is time to invest in public safety.
It's time to invest in public safety. Put the rubber to the road. And let me give y'all a little update. I ain't gonna play the whole video, but I got a little something to explain a little bit more about who he is if y'all don't know.
So let's jump into the heart of a crisis that exposes the very rot in our system, the Fulton County Jail, a place that has become a symbol of systematic decay, where more than 30 souls have transitioned since 2021. Even the Department of Justice found inmates' constitutional rights violated and recognized that the crumbling infrastructure has become a death trap. The politicians in their so-called infinite wisdom have presented a solution. Fulton County commissioners have voted 4-1 to approve a plan that on the surface seems to address the problem. They will build a new special purpose facility with mental and medical needs.
The jail faced a civil rights investigation 2 years ago when the Department of Justice found the jail failed to protect detainees from violence and held them in illegal conditions. Since 2023, 18 people have died in the county's custody. Along with renovations, the plan includes a facility for medical purposes and supporting housing needs. Repairs also include fire protection, a roof, interior, plumbing, and electrical as well.
Then they will get around to renovating the old Rice Street jail. The catch? The new building will take 5 years to complete, and the old jail won't be fixed for over a decade. This new plan says it will all wrap up by 2034. The county's chairman, Robert Pitts, claims this is the responsible plan. Allegedly, this will save taxpayers money by reducing the need to pay other counties to house inmates.
I need my child out of there.
Through tears, Karanda Locklear told me her son, Robert McGee, was booked into the Fulton County Jail last month for failing to appear in court. She believes he's wrongfully detained, and she fears the jail cannot meet his needs. She said he's diagnosed with mood disorder and has ADHD.
He needs all his medications, he needs pain meds, he needs his mental health meds, and they cannot provide any of these services for him.
While McGee awaits a new court date, the county is set to vote on its latest plan to fix the Fulton County Jail to the tune of $1.1 billion.
There is no perfect plan. But at the end of the day, we're taking this step to move forward.
That's what it was. $1.1 billion.
And the time to make that decision is now.
He claims a national consulting firm helped them come up with the plan. Conveniently, this plan rejected Sheriff Patrick Labatt's long-standing request for a brand new jail. The spirit of human life is traded for a spreadsheet. But But check this out. Commissioner Mo Ivory saw through the illusion. She voted against the measure. Her claim is the plan had no sound financial footing. She actually called the numbers fake based on a one-sheet explanation depending on things that might happen.
Some of the budget items that I was trying to give money to arts and culture and how it had changed her life, and that just warmed me all over again. And so I invite everybody to come and speak about what's important to you. So I brought 5 budget enhancements today to the table for seniors, for veterans, for arts and culture, for the public defender's office, and for the magistrate court. These are not luxuries, okay? These are departments and programs that serve people directly and urgently every single day. Fulton County is sitting on $69 million right now, a surplus. Yet our departments are being forced to scrape by with less than what they need to serve our residents. That is not fiscal responsibility. You know, that word loves to be thrown all around. It's starving the very services that people like you need. Instead of giving these proposals a fair vote, look at my colleagues playing their little politics, right? Instead of giving it a fair vote, the majority of my colleagues chose to file it away. Filing means that they have taken it off the table completely. No, not really, because I'll figure a way to get it back. That doesn't deter me at all. Remember, I'm built for this, so you'll be seeing this again. The jail plan. Today, I could not in good conscience vote for the proposed jail plan. We do not yet have a final order from the federal monitor around our consent decree, and without that guidance, we are moving forward blindly, again. We also don't know how long this project will take or what the true cost will be. So today they presented us with $1 billion of things over here, things over there, with no financial plan on how to cover it over 9 years. And guess where the first year they said that some money to cover this might come in? 2030. 5 years from now. This is what's going on here. Okay, so that will come back up again. But 4 commissioners, and check the record, they plan to move forward with it. But more will come, because guess what's also coming? A hike in your millage rate to pay for all of this. That didn't even include any of the expenses of the consent decree. The right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy, and this is where we left on the last vote today. So much happened today. I'm built for this. And those who oversee elections must be fully independent and accountable. My vote today, not to appoint the 2 Republican nominees to the Board of Elections, Registrations and Elections, is my standing on my principles, whether the millage rate or about MAGA Republicans. I'm going to do what is right, and nobody can force me to vote yes on something that I have the discretion to use my research, my facts, my intelligence to make a decision for myself. It's dangerous to start opening the door to judges telling elected officials how they should vote. And I'll stand on that every day. So please go to FGTV and watch these meetings. You need to know what is going on. And of course, reach out to me, moivory.com. You can find me at moivory.com. It'll take you right to my Fulton County page, and you can get in contact with me. I beg you to get in contact with me. Let's talk about it, because we got to do the right thing by you. And you need to know how we're spending your money. Today we talked about billions of dollars. It goes in, it goes out. You should know what it's being spent on. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Please, I'm always going to be transparent and bring you the information. I love the encouraging notes, and I really appreciate it. And even the notes that don't agree with me, they're good too. I'm built for this.
This is the very essence of the deception we expose here. The system offers a long-term, half-hearted solution to an immediate life or death crisis. They're not saving money, they're playing a long, drawn-out political game with human lives, basically choosing to let the system decay for another decade. While the elected officials, of course, debate on whether or not to use fake numbers for a project that the sheriff says isn't even the right solution. The true sickness isn't just within the jail walls. It's in the very halls of power, where life and death are reduced to a cost-benefit analysis.
$1 billion proposal to fix the Fulton County Jail. Well, since 2023, 18 people have died in the county's custody.
70% of the current jail population, that's according to county leaders. And for those with loved ones inside, change can't come soon enough.
While McGee awaits a new court date, the county is set to vote on its latest plan to fix the Fulton County Jail to the tune of $1.1 billion.
There is no perfect plan, but at the end of the day, we're taking this step to move forward, and the time to make that decision is now.
Fulton County Board of Commissioners Chairman Rob Pitts said this plan prioritizes protecting those battling mental illness and substance abuse.
We're addressing the issue of staffing as we speak today.
The plan also calls to rehab the existing facility from top to bottom after a facility assessment found the jail's roof, interior, plumbing, electrical, and fire protection were beyond poor and were in critical need of repairs for the safety of the jail population. What's increased to nearly 3,000 residents, up by more than 200 residents since May. For some advocates, this new plan is a mere $1 billion Band-Aid.
Putting the cart before the horse. They continue to try to find ways to invest in carceral spaces and yet put the necessary efforts into trying to reduce the population at the Fulton County Jail.
For Karanda, more needs to be done inside the jail to protect residents while she pushes to get her son back on the outside.
And that's all I have in me is some fight for my child.
$1 billion, family. They say they coming for that bill ticket. Not the meal, but the bill ticket. They ain't playing.
Crazy, family. Stay vigilant, stay fresh, and stay blessed.
It ain't over yet. Let's keep it rolling. I thought that was the one I had with more edits of Sheriff Labat, but oh well, y'all know who he is. She wouldn't even talk about him anyway. She was talking about somebody else, so I assume y'all know who he is.
The rubber on the road. It is time to invest in public safety. I worked with director to put together the equipment I needed. We got women and men out here.
Oh yeah, and what up, Miss DB? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining. And Starfish and Coffee, what up though? What up though? I see y'all. Appreciate y'all joining, family.
Protecting the best we can, and we're not resourcing. You heard the DA early on, and you mentioned it, Madam Commissioner, about vests. Right? I got vests that are expiring. The expiration date long gone. And maybe some of y'all thought this was a show, but I can't go to a funeral because of a vest. I refuse to. And maybe it's a culture that you just were not informed. I don't know what the answer is. But what you will get is transparency. What the answer is. But what you will get is transparency. What you will get is honesty. Right? See, some of y'all are confused. And maybe this is for the audience. Because every time you say Sheriff's Department, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. I don't run a department. I run the Sheriff's Office. We on the way up. We on the way up. We don't have nowhere else to go but up. Let me be clear. Let me be clear with my choices. But the DA laid it out for you. My heart breaks every time you see someone get killed in Fulton County. But let me take it a step further. Because when I first started, I said I learned that I had to be 40 days ahead of the conversation to even come speak to y'all. See, I'm not used to that.
What?
Let me back up and say, Georgia State Patrol, creating a Scorpion team that's going to fight crime. I told Madam DA, we're going to fill your desk up. We're going to fight crime, and we're going after these bad guys. Some of y'all thought I was playing. I don't have a fancy PowerPoint. I will ask for permission to be on the next board meeting. Can y'all put that in whatever the 28-day cycle is? Because when I first started, I said I learned that I had to be 40 days ahead of the conversation to even come speak to y'all. See, I'm not used to that.
What?
Let me back up and say thank y'all. Thank you for coming to visit. Thank you for having the conversations. Thank you for the $6.8 million. Let me be clear that I had to get 4 votes on and say thank y'all. Thank you for coming to visit. Thank you for having the conversations. Thank you for the $6.8 million. Let me be clear that I had to get 4 votes on, right? I can do math. Only to find out later it was a salary adjustment. Let me be clear. We are underpaid and overworked. I had 15 people in the last 30 days leave the Fulton County Jail as detention officers to go work somewhere else. I text you every time I see.
What has your experience as a defense attorney taught you about needed changes in the Fulton County DA's office, needed changes?
And I would say that both being a prosecutor, I saw some of the things that were broken, and I can talk about those things that are broken. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you how being a defense attorney, and this is why God take you through things when you don't understand what he's doing. Mm-hmm. how it has just shown me how important what we are doing is. So I have a client that's down at a prison, and he is, when I went to see him, he's an African-American young man. He's 28 years old, and I went down to the prison way. You know, they put the prisons in the middle of the state, in front of nowhere. You're on a little dirt road before you get there. And I went to the prison to see him, and as I looked around, it was just too many of us, and it was depressing. And it was able-bodied, handsome, young men, all that I'm sure with potential.
Yeah.
And as I watched that situation, I said able-bodied, handsome, young men, all that I'm sure with potential.
Yeah, the Scorpion team, the new Red Dogs and all that. Man, we didn't have the videos about Red Dogs. I ain't even gonna get into them, but yeah, let's keep it going. The Scorpion team, yep. Tyree Nichols, yep.
Yeah.
And as I watched that situation, I said, this something is broken. This is what we're doing. This mass incarceration, this ain't working. And so it led into my philosophy that we have to make changes and things have to change. Another experience I had as a defense attorney is I had right here in Clayton County some officers, mixed race officers, take $150,000 off of one of my clients. And when you read the report, it was clear they had only profiled him because he was a black man. And the way that office dealt with the forfeiture, it was the last DA, it wasn't his current one, it was just disgusting to me. Y'all can sit here and you know that this is not right. And I said, you know what, when I'm the DA, we're not going to do stuff like this. We're not going to do business like this. And so it gave me, I think that I was already compassionate and sensitive, but it heightened my understanding of how important it is to stand in this role and what a difference I can make to when a lawyer 10 years from now goes to that prison. There will still be black and brown people there because they will have committed crimes and they will have earned the right to be there, but maybe there'll be less. Yeah. Maybe there will be other things that we've done that now they're at the factory, now they're at a job, now they're lawyers in the courtroom, now they're doctors, maybe now they're preachers. Like because you know what? My daddy always said only one perfect man walked the earth and they crucified him.
Only one walked the earth and that crucified him. So Mo Ivory, the lady that was just talking a little while ago that everybody was saying she doing her thing, I think she's replacing this lady right here. She's the new one for this lady. Do I want to get into that yet? I don't know. I think I'm going to hold that because they about to go off when we get into that. Yeah, we're going to hold on for that because Arrington about to go off. We're going to save that a little bit. Let's get back over here. Keep it flowing real quick. Let me drop a boom.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
All of that, but as far as how our reports roll up, at the object code level, you would just see the total amount. You would have to actually go into the accounting system to extract the details of the payments for professional services, because there may be more than just legal services or outside or special prosecutor services within the object code for professional services.
If you've got professional services, it doesn't even delineate how much is attorneys and how much is a janitor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I want to find out how much Mr. Wade was paid for his services as a special prosecutor, who has that data? I want to issue a subpoena to find that out. Do I give it to you as the county and you can discern that, or do I have to go to whoever hired this professional service provider?
The county actually has an open government platform. You could go to our open checkbook and you could search by the name, and it would pull up the name of any vendor that matches that description, and you could find payments that way. So you could go in and type in Mr. Wade's name or the name of his law firm, and you would be able to pull those documents. You could also submit an open records request to the finance department, and the accounts payable team would pull the details and provide that documentation, or you could subpoena probably the district attorney or any member of her staff that is involved in their internal accounting and vendor payment process.
Is it?
It was included in my subpoena.
Right.
So
that's my question.
Yes.
Can you find that information?
Yes.
Or do I have to go to the DA who may not provide
No,
it?
we have that information.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you can tell me the recipient by name of these professional services payments.
What we provided today was specific to Mr. Wade. We are working on, the request also included any other attorney, so we are still working on that. Our process is we are searching now through all of the transactions within that professional services object code, pulling out the ones that appear to be legal firms and pulling the underlying supporting documentation to determine if they were in fact legal firms and if those expenses are responsive to the subpoena, and if so, they will be provided.
And I know I might sound a little lawyerish here. I don't mean to be hounding you, but I'm wanting to make sure that I address that subpoena to the right person. And I'm told you are the bomb. You are the answer to financial questions in Fulton County or
She is the bomb. Hold on. Let me drop her a bomb. And I'll drop one for Joni Ford. Let me drop her a bomb real quick. Boom. She is the bomb. Shout out to Joni Ford.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Dropping another gifted membership. Y'all show some love for Joni Ford. Drop her some Blue Jays in the chat. Some hearts and all that. Some coins and all that. Appreciate you, family. Y'all show her some love. Let's keep it rolling.
can get them. If I'm wrong, help direct me where I need to submit additional subpoenas to track down that information.
No, sir. Submitting a subpoena to me is should be sufficient.
And I will say on the record, you have been very responsive, and I know it's a lot of data and information, and I appreciate your efforts to continue providing that to me.
Thank you.
You have been completely transparent and helpful in trying to find things. So you said supporting documentation. What kind of supporting documentation would there be for a professional services payment to a law firm?
Typically their billing statement.
Do you have supporting documentation to show you a contract with them, with the independent contractor between the legal services provider and the district attorney's office or the county?
The contracts typically are not provided as part of the supporting documentation. It can be requested. But
from you or from the DA's office?
If I have it, I will provide it. If I don't have it and it's something that I can't get, then I wouldn't be able to provide it.
Okay. Because this is sounding to me kind of like the Wild West. Very little control from Fulton County over a $36 million budget. You don't know how much of that is spent on professional services, who is hired, how much they're paid per hour, what their total compensation is, yet you're being asked to provide $36.6 million a year that you know encompasses a number of those type of independent contractors that you're funding with no oversight or control, right?
Yeah, the Board of Commissioners has no oversight over the district attorney.
Okay. So your only control is the power of the purse, whether you continue funding money that can be used for those purposes, or whether you restrict that funding. Is that fair, Chairman Pitts? I guess that's what
Could you repeat that, Mr. Chairman?
So your only control is the power of the purse, is either granting or rejecting requests for additional funding from the DA's office.
That's correct.
Okay. And that has to be based upon assurances presented to you by the DA as to why she would need particular amounts of funding?
Right. The DA can come before the board and make a request at any time, and we would consider the request, and if we agree, then we'll grant it.
Right.
If we disagree, then we won't grant it.
And in that request, do you require her to give some specifics? You know, some who I want to hire, why I need to hire somebody, how much I want to pay them, what's going to be the cap on their
We don't
service?
get into that sort of detail. I mean, she'll would make a case as to why the need is there and what it would cost. But as far as individual names and what the compensation for a given individual would be, we don't get that kind of detail, nor do we ask it.
Did DA Willis ever make a request for specific funding for a special assistant DA, prosecuting DA, for for Mr. Wade?
Not to my knowledge.
And is her position that she doesn't have to ask or provide that information to the county in order to make a supplemental funding request?
Well, again, with respect to the special prosecutor, that's solely the purview of the district attorney, unlike the outside counsel.
All right. But you fund the district attorney based upon her stated needs or her request for funding, right?
Correct.
Okay. In her budget request, does she have a category for special prosecutors?
I don't recall seeing a special category.
Prosecutors?
I don't recall seeing a special category.
For special funding, right?
Correct.
Okay. In her budget request, does she have a category for special prosecutors?
I don't recall seeing a special category.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I would have to say that she as have prior district attorneys, have asked for resources, trial expense resources,
right,
without it being specific to X amount for a special prosecutor or X amount for expert witnesses or things like that. I think that it's been more like we know we have these major prosecutorial matters that will be moving forward and will require additional resources, but I don't recall there being any specific line item details necessarily associated with that.
All right, so we heard testimony at a previous meeting that there was a team of at least 10 assistant DAs working on an election interference case, and at least 3 special counsel that are being paid as independent contractors, including Mr. Wade. Was that ever described to the county commission in any of the funding requests?
I don't recall that coming before the board.
So she never came to you and said, I'm going to need a lot of money here to conduct this prosecution of, now there's 16 different defendants I'm going to call it the election interference case. Was that ever expressed to the county commission that that's part of why you were asked to give 36?
No, I don't recall that part, Pinky. I don't remember that part. What up, Cynthia Trop? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family. They don't recall that.
I don't supposed to be here. I don't recall none of that. All I recall is going back to prison.
6.6 million.
Again, not with that level of detail. So again, trial expenses.
Just generically, not even for the type of prosecution.
I want to say for the 23 budget, and I will have to go back and verify this, that there was some communication where she identified a need for resources because she expected to have to retry a case that had been a high-profile case, as well as the gang matters that she has. I think there are a couple of those, and the elections, the elections interference matter as well. But again, it was a lump sum, not specific with line item details.
Right. So you think that was in her budget request, perhaps in 23? Are we talking about Young Thug trial that's been it's gone on forever and ever so far, or different gang related?
I believe there is more than one gang related, large scale prosecutorial matter. But yes, sir, that would be one of them.
And you think she may have also itemized the election interference case would require additional funds?
My bad, I was late, but I had to. She said the Young Thug.
Categorize that as an area of needed funding.
Yes, sir. Again, I would have to go back and look. Well, I don't, because
you don't have to go back anymore. You've got your right-hand woman right there to help you.
So, yes, sir. That was Sabrina McTeer, the county's budget manager. So this is from the 23 budget enhancement request, and the description says, and I'll just read it, the general rule, the more complicated a case, the more likely expert witnesses, e.g. professional services, are needed. That was in parentheses. State versus Tex MacGyver has been remanded to this office. This case alone cost $675,000 in professional services. I have this case and several anti-corruption cases that are being litigated in 23. It is sufficient to enhance this budget, and the request was $1.1 million.
So that was for Tex MacGyver and any other public corruption case?
Yes, sir. So that's the kind of description that I was perhaps not doing a very good job of, expressing. But
you're doing great. And as far as your recollection, Chairman Pitts, is that she never named that she would need a special prosecutor on any election interference case?
Not that I recall, sir.
Certainly never told you the names of who she might be hiring or how much she was going to have to pay them?
Not that I recall, sir.
Did she make other budget enhancement requests back in 2023, or 21, or 22? I can't remember exactly when she was sworn in. Y'all know that?
Madam DA was sworn in and began her term in 2021. So we did receive enhancement requests from her for the 22 budget cycle, the 23, and the 24.
Okay. What was the $5 million enhancement request for clearing up homicide backlogs? Do y'all recall that? That was testified to here last meeting.
That was a request that came through in the middle of 2021. She requested additional staff to support a number of items, the outstanding homicide situation being one of them. Ultimately, in 2021, through a budget amendment process that we call budget soundings, the Board of Commissioners did authorize her to have funding for an additional 55 positions. Wow. It was a mix of attorneys, investigators, and administrative support personnel. And in 21, the cost that was necessary to begin to onboard those positions, because she would not be able to do all 55 at one time, was less than $800,000. I think the budget soundings was $780,000 and some change. But the full annual cost for that is the $5 million. And so we built that in then to her 2022 budget with the full year funding for all of the positions that the board awarded her mid-year in 2021.
And was there any mention in that $5 million enhancement request that would be needed for any type of public corruption investigation?
I will have to go back to the source document to confirm that.
What do you call that source document? Because I'm going to want to make sure I have adequately identified what I need to be produced.
I would call it a budget soundings request.
Okay. And can you provide those to me without me submitting an additional subpoena? I think they're included in what I've asked for. I may not have been as specific because I didn't know what to call it.
Yes, sir. I had intended to include the 2021 soundings information as part of the request for the budget information that was already included.
And you can just follow up and get that to me or Secretary Cook at your convenience. And if you would do that for any of those sounding requests for 21, 22, 23, and 24, just to keep me up to speed. Because, Chairman Pitts, what I am hearing from you is that the Board of Commissioners never got any kind of specific request for additional funding to prosecute any election interference cases, other than that generic $1 million, in 23.
Not that I recall, sir.
And no specific information about who needed to be hired as an independent contractor or what they would cost. I understand Governor Barnes was too expensive, and I just didn't know if that's that y'all figured that out or she ruled him out for that reason.
No, not that I recall.
I am subject to
Right. He's a gun for hire if anybody out there is paying attention, and pleasure to have you in the audience with us today, Governor Barnes. And I'm just wanting us to get a feel and for exactly how much oversight there is. It sounds like it's very loose as far as employment practices and expenditures for independent contractors.
Yeah, that information doesn't come before the board.
Right. Only you have to peel it out in these soundings and in the annual audit and in the budget submissions as she gives you the categories of what she needs.
That's correct. And when budget soundings come before the board, there's a little more detail and more specifics.
Right. Probably pretty.
For those who just listening and don't see it, we got a poll going on in the chat. Will Fani lose it all? 14% say yes, 14% say no, and 71% say yeah, and she need to be locked the fuck up. That's so far. Yep, appreciate y'all. Appreciate the participation.
Difficult politically for you and the Board of Commissioners to reject a request for needed funding to clear up a backlog in homicide cases, right?
Well, I mean, we had such a tremendous number of cases that were so-called, had been there for up in the thousands. And we decided that the $75 million from the ARPA funds has already been referenced by Ms. Whitmore.
Right.
So in order to, we threw, $75 million of the, I think we received a total federal allocation of about $206 million in ARPA funds, and $75 million of that $206 million went to the justice system.
Right.
And the justice system meaning everything that the CFO has outlined.
So that was back in the fall of 2021. It was about the same time Mr. Wade was being hired. And it wasn't mentioned to you that any of the enhanced money was going to go towards Mr. Wade or any other special prosecutor to prosecute election interference.
No, it was my understanding that $75 million was to be used for the justice system, and specifically, to reduce the tremendous backlog that we had.
And there was a $5 million enhancement that was from county funds, not the ORCA funds, or is that the same money?
Is that the same money?
No. The $5 million is general fund,
okay.
County.
And in that request, that was on top of the ORCA funds to get rid of the backlog of homicide cases.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. She actually asked for over 100 positions when she made the request, and the way in which we addressed it was we already had the backlog program in development, and so we identified a certain number that would be funded through the backlog project out of the ARPA resources, and the balance we provided for out of the county's general fund.
And this is back in the fall of 2021.
Yes, sir.
2 years before her $1.1 million request for public corruption and Tex McGyver.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did she ever report back to you the progress being made? What kind of bang you were getting for your buck? You're giving her tens of millions of dollars in either ORCA funds or federal, state, county general funds to get rid of this backlog. Did she do it?
I don't recall any specific report back to the.
I don't recall, bro. With the I don't recall. No, she didn't. You know she didn't. She ain't told y'all nothing. Shout out to Allie with another gifted membership. Let me see. I was trying to do the I don't recall.
I don't supposed to be here. I don't recall none of that. All I recall is going back to prison.
But shout out to Allie. Y'all show her some love. Dropping another gifted.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Drop some what ups and some smoke emojis in the chat. Appreciate the support, family. Appreciate it.
The board from the district attorney. However, at each meeting of the board, we would receive an update on progress that was being made. That's accurate, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, sir. As part of our global pandemic response, we presented the Board of Commissioners with an update for a while at every board meeting, and then eventually at just one meeting a month to update them on our progress using.
Jeez, lady, take the mic out your mouth. You could back up a little bit.
Our ARPA resources, and specifically on the backlog project, showing total backlog cases, progression of those cases through the system. And so we've been reporting on that regularly up until February of this year due to our cyber incident. So we are almost ready to begin that reporting process. Again, the last report that we made of the progress of Project ORCA was in January at the second meeting of the Board of Commissioners in January, and that was for progress through the end of 2023.
So would that list the number of homicide cases that are pending and how many are being resolved on a monthly basis?
It doesn't list case type. It lists the total number of projects, the total number of cases by each of the players, if you will, the solicitor, the magistrate court, the district attorney, and then superior court and state court. So we kind of track the progress of the cases from the two prosecutors, from the solicitor and the district attorney, into their respective courts, and then we track the progress that the courts themselves are making in fully adjudicating the cases. So that information is all presented to the board in a chart and discussion, and what's happening, all the various different things that we had to do in order to see that line make the progression that we were looking for.
So how many backlog cases were there? Do you have a ballpark figure how bad this got back in 2021? We're a year into the pandemic. Courts are not trying cases. Oh, wow. You got a full color report there. Is that my notebook?
We'll get an exact number. It was.
We started our drop date that we used to define our backlog cases was December 6, 2021, and we started with a total of 148,209 open and active cases in any stage.
That included the solicitor's office
Yes.
that prosecutes
Yes.
misdemeanors.
Across the justice
DA's
system.
office that prosecutes the felony offenses.
Yes, sir.
Does it break them out? How many are state court versus superior court?
The state court, the starting point for the state court was 20,124.
So the vast majority of them, or at least 2/3 of them. What's the superior court?
Superior court was 15,888.
Okay. Then you got magistrate courts as well, I guess.
Magistrate court was 39,435.
And that can be everything from a speeding ticket to parking ticket, very minor
Variety
things.
of, okay, yes, sir.
What else you got? Municipal court, I guess?
The Solicitor General had 56,462 at the starting point. And the District Attorney had 16,300.
Okay. Where's the 16.3 now, or at the end of 2023? Has the DA used all these millions to any good to catch up?
From our report in January, the District Attorney's number was 130 cases that were the original ORCA. So this is only tracking the cases that were considered in the ORCA backlog that started at 148. So again, these resources were only supposed to be focused on reducing those cases. There were still new cases, of course, that come into the system since that point in time. Right. And this report does not talk about those. This is specifically focused on those ORCA cases.
Those new ones are not funded through the ORCA funding.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Those two numbers that start in January.
For who?
Start for the DA, you started at 16,300 and ended up with 130?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was from?
December 6th of 2021 through 12/31/2023.
And we can't discern whether they're dismissed cases, whether they're plea bargain cases, or trials to a verdict?
Not from this report, okay. No, sir.
They just got out of the system, resolved one way or another.
So for the District Attorney, they were either...
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting the state earlier, but the state can talk the ears off a donkey. This continued filibustering has got to stop.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Hey, shout out to Joni Ford with another gifted membership. Drop her some blue jays in the chat and some coin emojis and all that. Appreciate the love and support, family. Shout out to all the stream sponsors of the night. But y'all show Joni Ford some love and drop her some blue jays and some coins. Appreciate you, family.
Moved on to Superior Court, which is where her cases would typically go, which means she still has to then prosecute them. But what we were tracking is, the cases that she had where, they were still sitting in, per se, in her queue, if you will. Yeah. So from 16.3 down to 130, they either moved on into the further into the prosecutorial process, or yes, they were dismissed, or whatever the other term is that you would use when a court case doesn't progress, when a matter doesn't progress.
Did your reporting requirements for these ORCA funds require any detail as to the successful completion of a case, whether there was a conviction or a plea, or they just dismissed it, or did they break it down for you that way? Or just one lump sum number of these cases are resolved, they're no longer in our system, in our queue?
We did not require that reporting, that level of reporting to the Board of Commissioners. We do have, I believe, that level of reporting from our criminal justice system, but it's just not included in what we reported to the board.
And does that criminal justice system of Fulton County prepare a report giving those annual updates or dispositions of cases?
They have not. This is something that the executive team worked on. For Project Orca, there was a steering committee that was established that, like the Chief Judge of Superior Court, Chief Judge of State Court, Magistrate Court, Chief Judge, the Clerk of Superior Magistrate Court, they all participated in the steering committee process. Our former COO, Alton Adams, guided them through that process. So there was no explicit reporting requirement for that detailed level of information made by the board to the group, but the board did want to see the results of their efforts. So, Mr. Alton worked with the judicial partners in developing the information that was reported back to the Board of Commissioners.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
Real quick, shout out to No One. Appreciate you, family. Y'all show some love to No One. Drop them some No One emojis and some coins in the chat. Member for 9 months. That's what's up, fam. That's love. That's love. Y'all show them some love. Appreciate you, family, for the 9 months. Let's get it.
Yeah. So you think that criminal coordinating council, or whatever they're called, kept data that specific as to the outcomes of the cases?
I think it's in our justice, it's in our system, and can be pulled out. I don't know. I didn't participate in those sessions, so I don't really know what they did with that information.
Who would you recommend me asking to pull that data out? Who should I submit a request for, or ask to come testify to us?
Yeah, probably Alton, isn't it?
Perhaps Mr. Adams, Alton
He's
Adams.
No longer the COO.
He is semi-retired. He is continuing to work with the county as a fee-based employee to help us move further down the road with the potential replacement jail project.
Mr. Adams, a fee-based employee? Does that mean he's still working just on an hourly basis?
Yes,
or
sir.
Kind of a consulting type thing?
Project more specific to the project, the jail replacement jail project.
Okay, so that's the project replacement jail project?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The replacement jail project. All right. We got another section. We're going to keep it on rolling. Appreciate y'all being here. Y'all show some love to the stream sponsors while I load up the next clip.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Love to know why we are here at this hour. Why are they frustrated that why would you tell them they can't get their salary savings? Why would you not expedite their hires? She said coming in she's gonna get rid of 70 people and hire 130 people. We've been knowing that for 9 months. So how do we get to this point where she's out trying to hire people and we're having hiccups? I want to say it's unintentional. But then when I look on the agenda and I see Commissioner Hausman talking about, oh, we passing the lowest millage rate ever. Fuck the lowest millage rate. We got to get these people locked up. They got to be arrested. I don't give a darn about no damn the lowest millage. But then when I look on the agenda and I see Commissioner Hausman talking about, oh, we passing the lowest millage rate ever. Fuck the lowest millage rate. We gotta get these people locked up. They gotta be arrested. I don't give a darn about no damn low millage rate. Where's the money that the DA's office?
Where's the money that the DA office needs? Fuck the lowest millage rate. Hey, shout out to Jakeisha. I appreciate you, family. Have a great night. Much love, much love. Make sure you come back and catch the end on another time. But I appreciate you being here. Show us some love.
Needs. Where's the money that the sheriff's office needs? Where is the cooperation that they need? It's not even really the money. Where's the cooperation? They gotta spend 1,000 hours to negotiate a damn lease, and then gotta come down here and wait 10 hours to fucking speak, and y'all won't give them the money that they need? You won't cooperate with them to give them to be able to hire the people that they need? That's preposterous, Mr. County Manager. Please make sure that this never happens again. But see, when somebody sneaks the lowest millage rate ever on the agenda, I really start to question motives and intentions. This is not, I've said this for the last 4 or 5 years. This is not how you set a budget. You don't set a millage rate in it. You find out how much you gotta use first. You find out how much the DA's office needs, how much the sheriff's office needs, how much these other departments need, and then set the budget. You set your budget based off of needs. Oh, this is what we had last year. Oh, we're trying to get the millage rate low again. Oh, we don't care if 1,500 rapists and murderers go running free. We want to have the lowest millage rate ever. Let all the rapists out. Let all the murderers out. We want to have a low millage rate. That doesn't make any sense. Cooperate with these people. They shouldn't have to come here, Mr. Herman, Ms. Whitmore. They should not have to come here and beg for money. So, can anybody tell me why this evidence building is not on the agenda today? No.
Oh, would be on the agenda, and madam, I want to be really respectful. We were asked in June to be on the agenda, and we listened and deferred to your staff, who said what the county manager, these people will want is not just the warehouse, but also they're going to want to know about how much money is on improvements. And so me and the sheriff's men agreed, okay, we'll wait till the July 14th menu so we can give these people the full picture. And then I got to go meet with Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Hausman, Commissioner Pitts, Commissioner Ellis, and they all saying, what are you talking about? It's not on the agenda. It's disingenuous. It makes me not trust you, and it makes me talk to them. And that's the truth.
And I understand that, DA Willis, and I apologize for there was a clear lack of communication, because I believe from the presence of your staff that you were aware about the consolidated warehouse we were discussing.
I never agreed to a consolidated warehouse, and nor did the sheriff, and he can speak for himself.
I understand. We will revisit that discussion and bring the item forward for the evidence facility we were previously discussing.
Pass an agenda item in March, and the county manager can bring it back, a plan that doesn't have it on it. I've been talking about this culture since day one. I've been ridiculed about it.
Hey, she about to give it to him too. Shout out to her right here. Shout out to Champ My Black is Golden in the chat. Shout out to Rock Solid TV 100 in the chat. Appreciate y'all, family.
Said I'm loud and wrong, but this culture we have, we can't get mortgage assistance, we can't get nonprofit assistance, we can't get all these things, the DA office can't get what she needs, the sheriff can't get what he needs, but more importantly, this culture of lying to elected officials when they're telling you what their needs are and you blowing smoke. Now I know we don't want to hear that, and I know here I'm supposed to be loud and wrong, but I'm loud and right. Because the culture I walked into here is one of tell them anything to get them out your face. Point blank. And this is where the rubber hits the road. Because welcome to Fulton County, where we're not going to give you help with mortgage. We're not going to give you nonprofit assistance. We're not going to take crime seriously. We're not going to take crime, and I commend you, Sheriff, because you're trying to do criminal justice reform. You are cutting edge. Welcome to Fulton County, where we can't do any of the things to make the county better, but we can give the county manager an $11,000 bonus. Shame on Fulton County. This is where the rubber hits the road. You are lying to these elected officials. You are not holding your colleagues accountable. And then we come down here every meeting, get a check for coming down here, lying to the public, lying to the elected officials, and they can't do their job. But we can get an $11,000 bonus. Shame on you. Welcome to Fulton County.
All right, Commissioner.
So I'm the executive director for the State of Georgia Public Defender Council.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Yo, what up, Chan My Black is Golden? Yo, real quick, before we get into her, I just want to say what up to everybody. This is crazy. This is the lady, I don't know if y'all seen it before, but the lady that with Miss D. Williams during the Young Thug trial, she the one who ended up having to pay her more money, but they was not trying to give them no money. Crazy stuff. They underpaid like a mug. He about to kind of talk about it right here, though.
How long have you been here?
This position, 2 years.
Okay.
We do have enough. We have been able to expand the framework because we have expanded the monies. We have increased the monies that we pay, and right now we assign every case within 72 hours. So we do.
So there's no one in jail right now waiting to be assigned to public defender.
Unless it's something that just happened that we have not been informed of. We do assign everyone within 72 hours. Let me tell you why C3 is no longer an issue. If you must know this, the public defenders in 14 counties got a big raise this year. The C2s are the ones where the case goes to after the first, let me go back. There are 3 cases. The public defenders will take one. The C2s will take one. The C3s will take another one. When we realized that there was so much disparity in the payment, I went to the leadership and I went to the county leadership and I asked for $700,000 so that we can create equity. I sent 2 MOUs to Fulton County, and then after some time, Fulton County.
And $700,000, and I bet they didn't get all that money. That was supposed to be for the public defenders, so they already making hella money. But instead of giving them a part of their split, they went and asked for more money to pay the public defenders, and that's how they got their raise. She acting like she did something. They made her do that shit because she had to pay more. So then she went and got more money.
Decided we're just going to start assigning our own cases for C3 cases. In my opinion, I thought they just wanted to help, because there are other counties in the state of Georgia who are doing such. Like, we will just do our...
I want to make sure that I am clear, because if Fulton County judges are calling it a constitutional crisis, and they're saying they're seeing defendants in their court, and I'm seeing defendants in their court that don't have a C3 attorney, they don't have any public representation, any legal representation, and you're saying they do, is someone lying? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's a lie. I think if 14 counties judges knew that we have a centralized unit in here, then they will know to send those clients to us. If 14 counties judges read the letter that I sent to them, May of 2020, say if you have any issues whatsoever, and I think I sent that letter to you as well in the package that I provided for you. May of 2020, I sent this letter to 14 county judges. 3 of them. If you have any issues in your courtroom, please give me a call. I want
to make sure that I understand the system. So when within 72 hours, you have some sort of mechanism that automatically assigns an attorney to someone waiting in the system, whether it's someone awaiting a C3 attorney or a conflict or public defenders. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, so I would have explained this to you, but I was trying to explain to you how cases travel, and we're going to be working with our judicial partners to make sure that when there's a discussion in the courtroom that someone does not have an attorney, that they immediately contact us and we will assign an attorney to that person.
Well, each time that I'm in the courtroom, in the virtual hearings that I've seen, you still have a representative that from your office. That may be someone that is not representing that person in need of a C3 attorney, but they're hearing the same thing that the judge is hearing. So why is not one of your employees writing the person's name down and then going to you and saying, hey, just to let you know, I was in this courtroom and this happened today?
So we have about 800 employees.
We got 800 employees, but we ain't about to do all that. We ain't about to have them doing work. What you mean? You want them to actually work? Shout out to Chan My Black is Golden with the 14 months.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Appreciate you, family. Y'all show us some love. Drop her some witch emojis and some coins in the chat for the 14-month membership. That's love. That's love. Appreciate you, family.
Attorneys, individuals all over the place, and it is not
you and saying, hey, just to let you know, I was in this courtroom and this happened today.
So we have about 800 employees, attorneys, individuals all over the place, and it is not their job. I wish they would all say, I heard this discussion. Maybe they didn't even hear it. Maybe they're worried about their own cases that they're hearing in the courtroom. But there's a process. There's a letter that was written. There's a way to get in contact with me or the individual that we indicated.
The governor announced more than $110 million in funds from the American Rescue Plan going to help reduce the court backlog. $96 million of that went to law enforcement agencies, district attorneys' offices, and courts. Just $14 million went to public defense. If prosecuting plan
written, there's a way to get in contact with me or the individual that we indicated.
The governor announced more than $110 million in funds from the American Rescue Plan going to help reduce the court backlog. $96 million of that went to law enforcement agencies, district attorneys' offices, and courts. Just $14 million went to public defense. If prosecutors and public defenders are doing essentially the same job to help with the backlog, why isn't there funding parity, in your opinion?
You have to help me with that math. They got more money than we got.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Why do you think that is?
Well, we got $15 million.
It says you guys got $14 million.
Well, we have an opportunity to go back. We work under the executive. We belong to the executive, which is the governor's office. We have an opportunity to go back and ask for more funds when we are done with what we have. Let me tell you what we've done with the $14 million. For each circuit that we have, we give them a certain amount of money so that they can help with their backlog. From that money, we have expanded the conflict offices, created 9 more conflict offices so that we can have attorneys closer to the clients. We're not decrying the amount of money that the governor's office gave to us. We're fine with that because we have the opportunity to go back and ask for more when we're done. And the $96 million that you're talking about belong to the whole state of Georgia. So I don't even know if there's a...
All right. Ain't time for that just yet. We gonna go ahead and finish out. What's her name? What's her name? Timpson. We gonna finish out with Timpson. Appreciate y'all. Let's keep it going. Don't let me start messing with people's names up, man.
You have mentioned a number of documents. You've got a gigantic stack of them there in your notebook.
Yes.
I had an opportunity to review some of that, and there's a few that I'm going to get the Secretary of the Senate to make copies of that we may want in evidence before this committee.
Yes, sir.
And when you come back, I'll have you identify those, and we'll mark them, and we'll send them out to members of the committee. Everybody can have one. We'll make sure that they don't contain confidential information that would be disparaging to you or embarrassing in any way, okay?
Resolve this herself with the district attorney and just trying to figure out what's going on. She approached me. I initially wasn't the filer of the initial whistleblower claim. I came in a little bit later because there were some issues, I guess, with the other attorney. She came back to me. I know the other attorney. I put in my notice of appearance. I started litigating. I have a little bit of experience litigating government actions against government officials, stuff like that, employment stuff. And so she alleged a whistleblower. That is the main substance of the claim. And we just been gathering evidence. Right now, a lot of you all are lawyers in here. We're in discovery. You know, discovery's been kind of stalled out because of some of the more broader things going on nationally and in here with DA Willis. So we haven't had a lot of depositions. We're supposed to have quite a few between June and July. So there hasn't been a lot of evidence as far as testimonial evidence. But Ms. Timpson, and the only reason why she's here today, and I asked her, I said, hey, look, it's up to you. I mean, I'm not a big person going in front of TV and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, if you want to go on there and you want to speak your piece and tell your story because you feel like you've been defamed or people are taking things out of context, you can do it. And that's why she came here. You know, she came here because she wanted you all to understand the truth about her experience from her perspective. And I believe in her. I've seen her. She hasn't even, what she walked you all through is just a tenth of the evidence. For example, and I'll give you a good example, sure, with the DCRC. Now, if you look at the DCRC's final findings, they don't even talk about don't even address the nexus between what's been said in these documents about must be Atlanta Public Schools, must be Fulton County, and the fact that you have other people outside of Georgia, not just Fulton County, outside of Georgia attending this program, never discussed, never documented. Instead, what they say is, off record, because that's the way it works, off record, hey, Amanda, you're right. We're a little concerned that you got perp walked out of a building within 20 to 30 minutes after you met with us, but it's never documented. And that's one of the big problems, you know. I hear back and forth, you try to look at both sides of oversight. But if you can report something with that kind of evidence, and then it's never documented at all, then there's a failure at the county level that needs to be adjusted so these type of proceedings are getting to another level or another government regulatory agency can actually get justice. And that's what it's about, right? It's just about, hey, if I report something with this type of evidence, audio recordings, because what she was initially told was, hey, DA Willis said, you never reported any whistleblowing to her. And then I said, okay, we'll send the audio recording. Then it's on the audio recording. Then it's like, okay, well, what's the next step after that? Because now you have the audio recording of the disclosure, not to get too technical. So what's the next step? And it just didn't happen. A complete failure at the Fulton County level. So in my opinion, with whistleblower activity, if something goes, especially about misappropriation of funds, if it goes into the DCRC, it needs to go to at least a couple other different regulatory agencies. You know, misappropriation of funds, as we know from the Howard administration, it could easily be investigated by the GBI. Easily be investigated by the AG's office. But if it's going to be always that, hey, the proper channel is to do the DCRC, and they're just going to exonerate or don't fully investigate and nobody's watching that, then that's a problem, and it's been a real problem for Ms. Timpson. Yeah. I mean, she has a legitimate claim. I mean, it's more than legitimate in my opinion, and she struggled with it for 3 years. And not to throw Fulton County commissioners under the bus, but they've known about it for the 3 years, because I personally sent it to them. Everybody's known about all this that's gone on with Ms. Timpson for years, and nobody took one action about it. Must be Fulton County Atlanta Public Schools means just that. It doesn't mean like in a deposition, maybe you once attended Fulton schools, then moved down to Michigan or Wisconsin or Florida, and now you can get Fulton County money even though you're not living here. You know, so that's all I'll say. The litigation hopefully can be wrapped up by Christmas as far as discovery, and maybe we can get a ruling. But our judge is also the same judge in the situation with former ex-president Trump, and so there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So Judge McAfee is the judge in the whistleblower lawsuit?
Yes, Chairman.
So you have filed a lawsuit on that matter?
Yes.
When was that filed?
I think 2.5 years ago.
And who are the defendants? Who's the suit brought against?
Well, at the end of the day, it's against Fulton County District Attorney's Office. We did try to bring it against. It's in state court, Superior Court, but there's some legal arguments that kind of made it untenable to hold it against Fani Willis herself, but in effect it is because it's against the DA's office.
Right. She's the head of it, and she personally did the termination and the demotion, so to speak, previously.
That's right.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't want to get, I don't want to preach or anything, but you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself to fire somebody within 20 minutes of talking to a compliance division.
Right.
You got to really believe in your...
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Yo, shout out to Joni for dropping some love on the way out. Appreciate the love, family member, for 11 months and dropping another gifted membership. Man, go crazy with the Blue Jays in the chat. Y'all show Joni for some love. Great having you here. Definitely appreciate it. Had a great night with you. Appreciate you, family. Y'all show us some love. Let's keep it going.
Hard, man, it doesn't matter. You can't do nothing to me if you're taking those type of actions, because a DA is a lawyer.
Right.
You already know the timing is going to mean everything to a judge, and you just did it anyways.
Without any other type of excuse or
nothing,
pretext.
Didn't even try to write up anything. Knew that she had a disciplinary file that was 0. Came up with emails and stuff after the fact, after the termination, which are easily disprovable, but we don't need to get into all that. But you just have to have a lot of hubris to say, hey, look, you meeting with the DCRC, you just met with one of my main input, I'm going to fire you right now. 7 officers to take Amanda Timpson out of the building. I mean, come on. Almost treated her like she was threatening to bomb the place.
Give me about a 3-minute explanation of whistleblower laws. What prevents that? What makes it illegal? What creates a cause of action if somebody is retaliated against or bringing attention to a public corruption or misuse of laws?
Well, it's been up to the Court of Appeals a couple of times, but it really comes down to this. If you report or you perceive that a public official engaged in misappropriation of funds and you disclose that, and that disclosure, in response to that, you were retaliated in adverse employment action. What does that really mean? If here we don't have a problem because she was terminated, then you can bring a claim under Georgia's whistleblower statute, and I believe you have to do it within 1 year.
Right.
That's it.
And so there would have been a series of actions that were deemed retaliatory.
Absolutely.
The harassment on the job, the demotion, and ultimately the termination.
Yeah, so what I would bring your attention to, harassment happens a lot. We're in the 11th Circuit. So you start talking about hostile work environment, you got to bring a lot of information to prove that. But what Amanda has in her favor is when you send a text message, which I reviewed, and you say, hey, look, you all are not doing anything. I need to talk to Fani Willis. There is a lot of claims that I can, and you list the claims that you think she was wrong about some of them, but she's not a lawyer. But you list these legal claims that you think you have, again, and you meet with a person, they say, okay, today, file clerk. I mean, the timing of that is just inescapable. Now, you can come back later and say, well, I did that to protect you. Really, you knocked me off my entire career path to protect me? You took me from a directorship to put me over here to stapling papers and numbering, like, not to diminish, all jobs are needed. But you knocked me off of my career path, and you say it's not retaliation, and you say things like, hey, I didn't take your money away from you, so we're good. No, we're not good. And then you have the situation within 45 days of having that recorded meeting, she gets terminated and gets terminated on the day that she meets with the DCRC, and all the harassment that comes in between. It's not just harassment, it's taking affirmative steps to try to derail your career.
Okay.
And they effectively did that. I mean, look, you all know about economic damage experts. My economic damage expert, and this is kudos to Ms. Timpson, said, hey, I've never seen anybody mitigate a job loss like this. I hate to even give you this low number, Mario, but I got to give it to you because she did such a good job of getting right back on the horse and riding and trying to get a job for herself.
The 1,000 applications for jobs.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
All righty. So this lawsuit was filed then back in 2022?
Yes. Yes.
And have depositions been taken? You mentioned discovery. That's request for production of documents and interrogatories and depositions. How much has been done?
I think we've had one or two depositions. We've sent out 30B6 notices, request for production of documents. We had ESI discovery, so that always takes a while, especially with some of the cyber attacks that have been going on. And we're looking at trying to wrap this up discovery-wise in probably August.
Has the DA's office been cooperative with discovery?
No, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. In Georgia, and I've done this many a times, you can actually do open records requests while you're in discovery. Now, it used to be you didn't even have to notify the opposing counsel, but then they changed it and said, look, you can't just be going around our back doing this. So I did one, notified opposing counsel. Fani Willis' office has not responded effectively with the documentation to this day. And all I asked for, because it became an issue in the case, which is an issue, but hey, we have the right to spend the money the way we want to spend it. It doesn't matter that it says must be attending Fulton or Atlanta public schools, given to Fulton County for Fulton County residents and students. So I said, hey, show me that. And you all have the deposition. I said, hey, show me that. Show me where it says in the grant itself, you could do whatever you want. It doesn't matter that it was given to Fulton County schools. If you wanted to go to Alaska and get a student from Alaska, you could do it. Show me that. We can't get an answer about that, really. Except for when the depositions, I say disingenuously answered a question and said, I just interpret that to not mean only Fulton County students.
So let me point you to a couple of things in committee members. One of these documents on top is called a project narrative. Ms. Timpson, is this the part of the grant application when you're describing what the fund's going to be used for?
Yes.
Okay. So on page 4, just kind of above the pie chart, whatever. So based on the demographics of court-involved youth in Fulton County, the primary demographic of this population served will be the African-American youth aged 13 to 16.
I see that.
Okay. And then on the JAG program, and this will be this, I don't know what exhibit number this participation application is. It says under education, school attending must be in Fulton County.
That's right.
Yes.
And is that part of that grant, that JAG grant, is that it's for Fulton County youth that must be enrolled in schools in Fulton County?
Yes, and that's the actual DA's application that they put out on their own website.
So, Ms. Timpson, I'm going to let you interject here for a second. How do you know that children outside of Fulton County were accepted into this program?
Because I worked directly with the students, there were several that were either outside the county or the state, and my first red flag was on our first day with the youth. Everybody went around and said what school they attended and where they're from, and there were many students who were outside of the state, outside of the county. It was essentially a summer program for the most privileged youth around the country. There were elected officials, grandkids there. Fani's niece, or what she represented as her niece from Florida, attended. We went and picked up the niece every morning from her office.
From Fani's office?
Yes, from Ms. Willis's office. Because she is a minor, I don't want to say her name. However, the documents are in the binder that I gave you. Another young lady that I worked with directly, she was from Wisconsin. She's currently still a resident of Wisconsin, attends Wisconsin schools. We were able to locate her mother's social media page that shows that they are still residents of that. Somebody who I won't necessarily say right now, but just won a DeKalb County state judgeship. Her kids attended the program as well. This was not a crime prevention program for at-risk youth in Fulton County. This was elected officials, kids, grandkids, cousins, nieces, nephews. And this was during the time when so many people in Fulton County were hollering about the dismay about the water boys. But what were we doing when we were given this money for these youth, but watching them on the news? And you know, that summer specifically, I just remember so many youth passing away due to gun violence. And I'm not saying that we could have changed, rewrote history, but I do always wonder how our programs, if used correctly, could have affected the youth in Fulton County, for sure.
Chairman, I'd like to say one thing.
Go ahead.
You know, as sometimes this stuff just comes down to common sense, right? I mean, if I come to you and I say, hey, you're the district attorney, you're a lawyer, and I say, hey, there's a misappropriation of funds because this program is for Fulton County and Atlanta public school students only, and you have people coming from outside the state, then why not say, no, you're wrong?
Right.
You're wrong. That's just not how the program works. If I go to anybody running this program and I say, hey, I believe that this is a misappropriation of funds, this is not right. Nobody ever said in writing or verbally, hey, Amanda, calm down. You are wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. The grant says this. We get this permission to do. None of this happened. Instead, what happened was ignore her, push her off into the corner, hope she goes away. I'm the DA, I'm whoever, and I'm going to go ahead and show you that if you keep talking, you're going to find yourself on the outside of the situation. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a denial because Amanda has so many emails, so many recorded sessions saying, hey, man, this is wrong, you did this, and nobody's saying, hey, no, that's completely wrong. This is not a misappropriation of funds. I could go, like I said, to one of the 50 states, pick any kid I want, bring them over here, use the Fulton funds for that kid, no problem.
Who decides which kids get to go to basically summer camp?
Well, it would have been me had I not been taken off of it. But in this regard, it was Mr. Cuffey, to my knowledge. And the youth, they apply for it. And then ultimately, unless there's some huge red flag, we usually take them. Again, under Mr. Howard, it was 80 to 120 youth, so it wasn't too many that we turned around or turned away. However, again, according to my understanding, if you were out of state or out of county, that's automatic. You're not within the confines of the grant. So.
And that's reflected. I marked it as Exhibit 3, that participation application that says you must be in Fulton County.
Yes.
And then on the second page, the website that describes the program says 6th to 9th graders from Atlanta and Fulton County public schools.
Correct.
And then again on that third page, it says the youth program accepts 6th to 9th graders from Atlanta and Fulton County
Correct.
public schools.
Yes.
So there is another exhibit that you
Shout out to Flesh of the Gods. Tell everybody. Well, I still fighting through the devils, man. Like they be trying their best to hold me back, but y'all got to give the people what they want, bro. You know what I mean? The people want some real, man. It's time for the real people who ain't pretending to be in position.
You gave me number 4 is the last page in our little thing, junior DA funding breakdown.
Yes, that's
You got
correct.
that?
Yes.
Tell me, what's the significance of this?
This was an invoice that was sent internally from the grants division. As you see, Michelle Henry sent this email out. And as you see, the second line says this is for junior DA programs funding breakdown, and this is for 2021. Line 2 says 27-inch iMac computer valued at $1,799. Line 3 said Zoom small teams. It was like for Zoom credentials valued at $2,120.25 for a total of $3,919.25 of the the junior DA program was spent on those items.
So it's your contention those items are not permitted under the grant?
Correct. Another just kind of concern that I had is that it shows $12,500 was spent on blazers and patches for 125 students, but in 2021 we only serviced 40 students, so I'm not quite sure why we spent that much on 125 blazers.
Got it. Okay, on Exhibit 2, it says budget summary at the top of it.
Yes.
Where did that document come from?
So Exhibit 2 is not junior DA. This is the OJJDP grant, the one with the project narrative as it correlates with Exhibit 1. And this is the budget summary for the OJJDP grant, which is the $488,000 grant. And I've highlighted line D where it says equipment. And then you can kind of follow it over, and it says 0 equipment for all years of the grant.
So you didn't ask for money to be used for equipment?
No, there was no money for any equipment.
And when the budget was provided before they released the funds, it showed you would not be spending any money for equipment?
Correct. Okay. And if you see the page behind it, it does say gang prevention program. It says grant.
Up there in the upper left-handed corner?
Correct. Okay. It says, but if you see at the bottom, it says district attorney grant, and then unit, it says gang prevention program, so that was the OJJDP grant, and this says $1,245 to Dell Marketing, which would have been non-applicable for the grant.
That would have been a Dell computer?
Yes.
Some type of computer sold by Dell?
Correct, and that would not have been in the confines of the grant.
So that was your point for bringing this, to just give us an example of if one really specific. We know this proves that a computer was bought, it was spent from money from the grant prevention program.
Correct.
The gang prevention program from your grant.
Yes.
Okay. And this is what you brought to Cuffy's attention. Before he did this purchase, you said you can't do that.
Yes, that's correct.
And then you went and told Fani Willis the same thing?
Correct.
Okay. And that's when she told you what? Let me be very clear about this, or listen to what I say? What?
Yes.
Okay.
She said that, I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I want you to really listen to the words that I'm saying. So at no time did I told her in that audio recording that the grant is very specific. We cannot do that, and that was her reply.
Okay, I got off track, Mr. Williams. So you were telling me about difficult.
I almost prematurely switched the live over to members only, fam. I was testing this new members only thing they got, but I ain't doing it yet. But I'll do it at the end. But appreciate y'all. We gonna still keep it rolling.
Obtaining the documents in the discovery process.
Yes,
Did you also submit requests for production of documents to the DA's office in that litigation?
Yeah, we have that, and we're waiting on some documents. Now, opposing counsel in the case been fine. I mean, I go way back with Miss Anna Rita, and she's good to work with. It was that open records request that just kind of, I said, hey, I can get this thing in 3 days, or you got to give me something, give me a good reason why I can't, and I just 30 days passed, 60 days passed. It's not worth me filing a lawsuit about it, but it was just obstructionist in my opinion.
Are you aware that there is a lawsuit against her by Ashley Merchant or her client on open records request?
I wasn't.
Okay. Are you aware of any lawsuits against the DA's office for refusal to comply with open records requests?
I'm not, but it wouldn't surprise me based on my experience.
As an attorney, do you believe that that office is exempt from Georgia's open records law as a constitutional office or any other reason?
Absolutely not. It's a government agency at the end of the day. Now, I'd love to see the legal argument about that, but it's a government agency. Right. If it's headed by a constitutionally elected, that's like saying that we can't get the sheriff, anything for the sheriff's office because he's constitutionally elected.
Okay.
I mean, no, I don't believe that at all.
Okay. Anything else? So that lawsuit will be going through the process as you're completing depositions this summer.
That's right.
Will Ms. Willis be deposed?
She is. I think her deposition is sometime next month, towards the end of next month.
Okay.
And so I think, I can't remember the exact date because it just came across like last week, but I know that opposing counsel absolutely wants to depose her, and just so you know how it goes, see how she stands up to examination, that good stuff, damages, stuff like that.
Because she's a relevant fact witness to the retaliation.
Oh, yeah, very important. Whether or not DA Willis is deposed, that just depends on the law. You know, Georgia has that kind of apex doctrine, so before you can go after a government official such as Fani, you kind of have to show that you can't get it from somewhere else and all that kind of stuff. But so it's going to depend on who says, I don't know, I can't recall, or denies things prior to me going after a deposition with her.
Okay. All right. Anything further you want to add?
No.
Okay. Back to you then, Ms. Timpson. I'm going to try to wrap this up because I know folks getting restless, wanting to get out of here. You have heard some of Ms. Willis's public comments about the controversy with her and Mr. Wade, right? Okay. You mentioned early in your testimony that he was present in your interview in the fall of 2020.
Correct.
Do you know what his role was?
He was a member of the transition integrity team. That's what she called it. She ran on this Integrity Matters platform, and so they had her transition team was called the Special Integrity Transition Team, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
And to your knowledge, was he present in all the interviews for the open positions that people had to reapply for?
Get him.
He was in all the interviews of every single person that I've spoken to that I knew in the DA's office, yes.
Were you aware of any personal relationship between Mr. Wade and Ms. Willis back at that time when everybody was interviewing in, sounds like the fall of 2020?
No, I just knew he was somebody important because he was leading the interviews, but I didn't know any personal relationship or anything. I just knew he was clearly somebody that she knew and trusted.
And did you ever learn of any personal relationship?
I do believe at one point in 2021 there was just office talk of Ms. Willis having a boyfriend on staff. I didn't know who it was at the time, but.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody will get it.
Just office talk, but nothing that I saw with my own eyes or anything like that.
Do you know what the DA's office policy was about basically having a relationship with co-employees or supervisors and their employees that had to report to them?
I just, from under Mr. Howard, I was under the impression that there was like a non-fraternization policy, but that was nothing that I ever had to worry about, so.
Okay. We had heard a little information in one of our earlier hearings about the use of these P cards. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
Explain to us what a P card is.
So I'm assuming they were speaking about the access cards? Is that what they're speaking about?
They were like a credit card. Mr. Pitts told us about that some employees had ability to pay for travel or meals or things.
I think it was called a T card. It's called a T card, not a P card. And it's for the travel. They're supposed to use that when they travel.
It's almost like a debit or a credit card, it sounded like.
Oh, then no. I thought you were talking about the access cards, but no, I wouldn't have known about that.
As I guess you were a program head, you would not have had access to a credit card or debit card.
I wouldn't have. And under Mr. Howard, I led that unit. And even then, if we needed something, we asked. So that wasn't anything I ever dealt with.
Okay. And under Mr. Howard's leadership, were you ever aware of any occasion where he would have utilized a special prosecutor?
No.
You ever hear of anybody other than employees or assistant DAs that assisted in the prosecution of cases under Paul Howard?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
All right. In your
Time in the building. What's good, Time? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family.
Newest role at the DA's office before you were terminated, you said you were looking into restrictions of records and also some kind of juvenile prosecutions. Well, tell me again exactly what you did.
So it wasn't juvenile prosecution. It was actually It was actually the pre-indictment diversion program for adults and record restriction. And is that what you're speaking
Yeah, I
about?
was trying to get a grip on exactly what you were doing.
Oh, I literally was just putting things in alphabetical order. There were actually some documents from, I guess, under Mr. Howard that went back all the way to the 90s that I was tasked with putting into alphabetical order. So really busy work, essentially.
Did you get any gauge of what type of backlog there may have been in prosecutions that the DA's office was facing there? I guess this would have been during 2021.
No, I did. I was aware that there was a backlog due to COVID. And I also, well, I can back up because I did hear from an attorney that was in the office that no longer works there at one point that they were just doing a lot of pleas to cut down the backlog. But that's all I ever heard. And because I'm not an attorney, I didn't get into the weeds with that. I just said, okay.
Okay. Madam Leader, if you would like to question or designate one of your members to have any questions of either witness, now's the time.
I think that the whip has.
Shoot, she don't wear a blindfold no more. Lady Justice wear a poo shiesty nowadays. She wear a ski mask.
Some questions, Senator Jones.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions. The information that you provided with the where we have the open checkbook home, it has budget summary and it talks about the Dell Marketing Group, Dell Marketing Corporation.
Correct.
That information was taken from the Fulton County website, correct?
Correct.
And that has all the information as far as this program is concerned, the one from the Department of Justice, the $488,000 grant.
I wasn't able to find everything. Also, some of the documents that I did find actually are very much conflicting with the actual grant narrative that I helped author. So I'm not sure if they, what type of changes happened after I was terminated, but from what I authored or co-authored, they're not in alignment.
So you, and understand this, I don't care about the fact that you did this, but you established a GoFundMe page, correct?
Correct.
And on that page, you actually have various links that persons can go to at the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those links, the headline of it is from the Free Beacon, and it says that basically emails say that you were a good employee. It was like Fani Willis says she's a bad employee, but emails tell a different story.
Okay.
And it cites an email that basically they were going to give you an award. You remember that? And so you're the one who established these links in your GoFundMe page.
I copied and pasted them to ensure whoever was kind enough to contribute to that to legitimize it, because at the end of the day, I want people to know that they're giving to something that is serious and is honest and true. So yes.
Right.
We could tell who he working with. He over here trying to grill her like, what about all the stuff she did though? That's crazy. What up, Always Lying Love? I see you in the building. Appreciate you joining, family.
And
Long time no see.
You read those articles? The articles that you linked, you read them?
Yes.
Okay. So the article that I just cited, within that article that you said you read, links us to the Fulton County website as far as this project is concerned, the $488,000 project.
Okay.
And so you actually are directing people to go to this website to read this article, which then has a link. So I understand you're saying, well, you don't necessarily know what's in there, but you, to some extent, are adopting this link because you're putting it in there. And that link from the Free Beacon goes to the Fulton County website. And my point is that in that website, whether you agree with everything that's there, all parts of that project are on that website. It talks about sub-report MOUs. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, and I believe there's been some issues with those MOUs and how they were actually spent. So while I respect what you're saying, I also linked several others. So not one is more special than the other, but
it's open there. It is there, correct?
Correct.
For anyone to read.
Absolutely.
To have some understanding of what the project is about. That's my only point. You can have a disagreement with it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Okay. But right now, the sub-report MOUs, and what I'm trying to ask you is that, can you explain, I'm actually going to give you open-ended, can you explain what these sub-report MOUs are?
Sure.
Yes.
The MOU is a memorandum of understanding between the sub-grant awardee, which would be an organization that is going to assist in doing the actual work of the grant, and the DA's office.
And there's various sub-grantees.
Look, he on it. He got his questions ready. Miss D56 back in the building. What's good, family? Appreciate you.
I guess, or grantees that exist part of this. Do you know what those names are? I have them. Do you know them offhand?
Yes, I believe.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Chris 180 is one of them.
What is that?
Chris 180 is a mental health nonprofit that works with youth and families as a core provider. It's one of the largest core providers in the Atlanta area. I believe one is WAVE, which is We All Value Excellence, which is a police, I believe it's a group of former officers or current officers that work with youth in the community. One is the Atlanta Police Foundation under the At Promise Center. And I believe, I think there's one is the Alumni, I forget what it is, Alumni Offenders Association, which is essentially like a Credible Messenger Foundation. And I think I'm missing one, but I can't remember.
That's fine. But and within each one of those, they actually kind of lay out the responsibilities of those organizations, correct?
Correct. That's
and
what
I should also
MOU
talk
does.
about how those organizations could be audited and things like that. And with each one, they have that, correct? Okay. Is this all that you provided our committee? Was this from Fulton County dealing with the budget summary?
I provided your committee with this entire book, a replica. So that was just one that I pulled from there. What was that?
It would have all of this information
It also
in there?
has an MOUs in there, yes.
Okay. But today, this is all we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And so what this shows is that there's really different players and different moving parts as far as these grants are concerned. Is that not right?
It does, but one thing I do want to highlight for you is that when we created, or when I co-wrote the grant, we had Fulton County Schools and Atlanta Public Schools as one of our sub-grant awardees, and to this day, Chief Applin has never received anything other than what he gave an MOU and expected money to be able to teach great to 4th and 5th graders, and has been waiting for 3 years to teach them gang reduction education and training, and has not received that money, never received anything saying he was no longer going to get that money, and the same with Fulton County Schools. So what I understood it at the time when I blew the whistle, at the time when and prior to when I authored this grant, was that we were going to be giving money to Atlanta Public Schools and Fulton County Schools to make sure that we made kind of satisfied the prevention part of the grant, because it was for intervention and prevention. They're not doing that.
Also within that link that is there that we could have all kind of shared today and really kind of gone through it to understand the different dynamics of this grant, that it's not just one-page summary, is also a letter from the Attorney General, William Barr, and also it lays out the federal requirements of that particular grant. That's within the link that you had in the Free Beacon that Fulton County has free and open for anybody to see. Is that correct?
Let me. Can I ask you something, Senator Jones? Are you suggesting that the junior DA money could be used for someone other than a student attending Atlanta Public School or
I think Attorney, you're absolutely understand exactly what I'm suggesting. And
are you suggesting
that this is not everything that is part of that grant.
No, but I want to know.
This body today has not shown all of the different aspects of it. I'm not getting into the weeds of litigation.
Can you show me?
I'm not getting into the weeds of litigation, and you know that.
For a student outside of Georgia?
You know exactly what I'm going.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's why I want you to give me the document. We can enter that as an exhibit right now.
The other part of this that I want to ask is, from a litigation standpoint, how many other pieces of litigation are there or have been done? How many other pieces of litigation do you have?
I can answer that.
Other than the one. Go ahead.
So there was a defamation that was barred that she voluntarily dismissed because of the Georgia Tort Claims Act, and there's a pending motion to dismiss on an ADA retaliation in state court.
And what's the so it's pending. So summary judgment motion's been filed is what
No,
you're saying?
the motion to dismiss has been filed, and I'm not nitpicking you on that. It's just a motion that has been filed to dismiss the complaint on the ADA. We have to respond to that, but it's because of the Georgia Tort Claims Act, which intentional infliction of, libel, slander. We could have argued about that.
It's tough to get around.
But yeah, very.
Yeah.
And so what I told Ms. Timpson is, I said, hey, look, the substance of your claim is this whistleblower. You have that suit, and it's going forward. There's no dismissal. There's no arguments. We've been through that. So you need to make a choice as far as what you're going to. You can't sue Fani for everything. There's all kind of immunities out here, everything. So let's go forward on the whistleblower. And then this ADA, we'll see where it comes. But this whistleblower, and the ADA is about failure to adopt or explore a reasonable accommodation. But let's go forward on what we have, which is the whistleblower rock solid. And that's why I'm just trying to figure out. I'm not trying to insult you, Senator. You know, you have a very prestigious position, and I'm not placating you by saying that. I'm just saying if.
He needs some milk.
What you
talking about, Willis?
You do have something that says, hey, we could go to Florida and use money for a Florida student when the application on our website says public attending school must be Fulton County Atlantic Public School. If you have something that says something different, because I did an open records request for it, I couldn't get it.
Can I ask a question?
If you have it,
Let me
just
ask you a
give it to me.
question. What you're deciding right now,
No.
No. No, he's sleeping.
about the Fulton County Schools, what program is that?
That is the junior DA program.
Oh, correct. Is that the federal program that I'm referencing?
Well, but Amanda knows the ins and outs of that. But
Is
I
that
just
the
want to
federal
make
program?
sure.
Then why would you interject yourself if you don't know the
I
ins
just
and
want to
outs?
make sure that you're given the right information. If you have this information, because you keep saying to us, "Hey, you did a link, and it goes all the way to Fulton County, and there's all kind of documents on the webpage about all these programs and how they're used." So I'm just asking you directly on this specific issue. Do you have something for me?
I have the documents that link.
Can we enter them in as exhibits?
She's provided them.
But you say you have more.
Wait a minute, wait.
What's being used?
Let's hold on, wait. First of all, are we not talking about two different programs when he talks about the JAG program and what I'm discussing?
Right, but I thought you said JAG program, but I did have one quick interjection on what you're saying. I understand that you have gone on Fulton County or the LinkedIn or whatever it's called, but let's just say this. Does that not say that is from the DOJ? It says zero equipment. So if she spent $5, that's misappropriation.
Please understand something. I'm not here to discuss this. Y'all deal with that in litigation. What I'm here to discuss is that this committee is actually trying to do an investigation. What I'm here to try to show, and it's very simple. Your attorney has to know what I'm actually showing here. I can guarantee people on this panel understand what I'm showing, and that is that we were presented today with this one page as though this is all that references that particular program. And I'm just showing that there are other things that reference the program. That's it. Y'all have litigation till your heads fall off. Have at it. Right. I'm not making an opinion about that one way or the other. But what is uncontrovertible is that there's more information than this. Now, no one can argue that. That was presented to
No.
You can't
No.
pick that dog.
No, he's sleeping.
That was symbolic of just that.
I'm saying what was presented today. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is, from a paper standpoint, is there not more paper than this? That's my only part.
But this is what I'll say to you, Honorable Senator. This is what I'll say to you. Investigations start just like that.
Oh, God Almighty.
Okay, so if you want to submit some more information, just submit it.
Here's my last question. My last two, and they really are. So when you were on the team to determine about investigating President Trump, former President Trump, tell us how they came to that particular conclusion.
Can you?
Were you on the team to actually make a determination to investigate President Trump?
No, I had nothing to do with any of that.
So you tell us about the decisions that were made, because you were on the team, I would imagine, to discuss how Nathan Wade was paid and things of that nature.
Had nothing to do with that. No.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Jones, if you would like to submit any additional information, you're welcome to do that if you have something that contradicts or helps flesh out the record for this committee.
I was just
You're referencing some documents that were from a link, and you're
yes,
free
I was just all the documents that pertain to the federal grant that has been discussed here, specifically the OJ, the Office of Juvenile Delinquency Prevention Grant, which is actually linked to Fulton County website that has all the details of the grant, with the understanding, of course, there may be contentious areas about what's actually been paid or not paid. But the grant itself, all aspects of the grant are actually on that particular link, and I have 4 of those documents, and I would like those documents to be admitted into the record.
Can I say something, Senator?
Not yet.
Okay.
If you would, please, Senator, hand those to the court reporter. I'll have her mark those and identify them, and we'll have that as a part of our record. Now, Ms. Timpson, what do you want to add something?
Yes, I just wanted to say the documents he had were in what I gave you.
They're in that notebook?
They are.
Okay. Ms. Timpson, you have a notebook in front of you that is about 6 inches thick with various tabs, et cetera.
Correct.
You presented a copy of that to the Secretary of the Senate. I understand that there are certain portions in that you think are confidential or privileged that should not be published to the general public.
Yes.
Can I get you either today or tomorrow, if possible, to flag or identify which of those should be held confidential? And then we will introduce the remainder of your notebook into the record of this investigation. If it duplicates what Senator Jones is doing, that's okay. That's fine. I'd like to ask you if you would do that for us.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you testified in your civil case about this whistleblower retaliation?
Not yet.
So you haven't given a deposition yet?
Not yet.
Right. But you're willing to come here today and talk to us with permission of your counsel?
Correct.
Okay. There is a similar committee in the United States Congress. I think Representative, who's handling that, Jordan? Have you been asked to testify in front of that committee?
Yes.
At one point, yes.
Okay, and have you testified?
I have not.
Okay. Has anybody tried to deter you or dissuade you from doing that?
I believe somebody has reached out to my attorney.
Okay.
Nobody's tried to dissuade her. We just elected not to.
Okay. Has the DNC reached out to you?
Yes.
And who's the DNC? Democratic National Committee?
Yeah, I think, or no, somebody on the same committee, I forgot who it was a lawyer, she reached out to me, and all she asked was, hey, when you come, if you're going to do this, just let us know the date and time so we can actually be present also.
So she has an invitation to appear in front of that committee if she, is that something you got to pay your own way to D.C., or will they pay for you to come testify?
I did ask about that. They were willing, they were willing to pay Amanda's way, but they weren't going to pay mine, so, you know. But we just chose, that didn't have anything to do with not going, but we just chose not to do it. But then when this came up and I talked to Amanda, she said, hey, look, I just really want to speak on this, so we're here. It's Georgia, we're in Georgia.
And just to be clear, neither of y'all are being paid to appear here today, right?
No.
Sorry. All right. Well, I appreciate both of your time today. And
Yeah, that's about it for that. Let me see, I got a little outro thing before we roll out for y'all, and stay tuned for the exclusive sneak peek for the members only of the Nipsey Hussle video I'm working on. But yeah, let's keep it going. Get to this outro. Appreciate y'all being here. We wrapping it up right now, family.
We're fine with that because we have the opportunity to go back and ask for more when we're done. And the $96 million that you're talking about belong to the whole state of Georgia. So I don't even know if there's a...
Will the political war be over when she testifies on November 13th? The impact of this previous hearing is that it provides the evidence needed to see the entire narrative. The prosecution is now on the defense. Her indiscipline granted her enemies the legal footing to dismantle her office and jurisdiction. What will happen on the 13th? Will her arrogance become the most powerful weapon they use against her in her own mission? The greatest impact of this hearing is the shift in power and the potential domino effect that may just help us reshape America. When she testifies on November 13th, it won't be about the $65,000 a year she was paying Wade. It'll be about small things like a $65 credit charge for lunch on the wrong day. They don't need to put too much focus on winning the big arguments. They just need to prove you're a liar on the small ones. This hearing provides all the necessary documentation to shift the focus from the defendant's crimes to the prosecutor's competence. She created the weapon, and now the system is coming to collect. This is the Fani Willis Vendetta, Part 6. Yeah. Appreciate everybody. Shout out to those who participated in the poll. We got 48% say yes. She gonna lose everything. 14% say no. And 38% say yes, and she needs to be locked the hell up. Appreciate y'all for the participation. And yeah, we got up to 413 views. That's what I'm talking about. One of my favorite numbers. We still keeping it rolling, and now we're gonna convert to the members only stream. First, let me shout out everybody in the chat: Jerome Street, Miss D56, Lenny Xavier, Allie, No One, Miss D56, Time in the building. Appreciate y'all, family. Appreciate y'all. Rock Solid TV, y'all go sub up to Rock Solid TV and No One. Allie in the building. Allie, Chan, my black is golden. Appreciate you, family. Lenny Xavier said you had a good time. Appreciate you, family. Joni 4, appreciate you. Miss D56, appreciate you. I don't know if I said that already. I might be seeing doubles. Jerome Street in the building. Shout out to Jerome Street. Appreciate y'all all. Let me send a quick shout out to my stream sponsors before we get up out of here.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Shout out to the stream sponsors. Yeah, sorry, Miss D56. It's a members only because it's something I'm working on. It's only like a maybe 10, not even 10 minutes. It's not that long. It's a short clip, but it's part of the Nipsey Hussle I'm working on. And it's just a preview, so it's all good. Don't worry about it. We appreciate you, though. It'll be dropping soon, and you can see the real deal. It won't be members only when I drop it. Just the preview of it is members only. But anyway, I appreciate you all. Let me see. Hold on. I forgot to set this timer thing, huh? Let me see. Members only live stream. 5 minutes. Shout out to our stream sponsors. Factual Lie, Alley, Joni 4, Jerome Street, No One, Trakesha, Chan My Black is Golden. Appreciate y'all all. Much love, much love. Shout out to our stream sponsors. And to everybody who showed up. Shout out to everybody in the bushes. Appreciate y'all all too. Shout out to everybody who hit the like button, to the new members, the new subs, and all that stuff. And other than that, I appreciate y'all. Jerome Street, let me see. Good stream, good night, everyone. By the way, verdict watch on Monday of the Brooks trial. That's right, that's right. So hopefully we had that come back on Monday. They should be ready. I will stream that if it's live and up. Shout out to Ali Monkey shit. Shout out to Jerome Street. Let's get to it. Shout out to Time. I'm confused on what the senator is trying to say. I believe he is diluting. I can't see that. Oh, diluting. Think he is diluting the process because I believe he is working with other higher people that put him in the position and and to protect them. Yeah, I believe that too. That makes sense. Makes sense. For sure that. We still got a couple more minutes, so I'll read some more of these chats before we get out of here. Miss D, smooth talker. That's a senator protecting someone, not just Fani Willis, but probably himself. Make sure y'all sub up to Rock Solid. Go check out No One new track. If you're not a member, make sure you go to No One channel after this and check out his new track. Matter of fact, shoot, hey, where the link at? No One, drop the link. I'll play it on the way out. If you got it ready, let me see. I might could just hop over there. Let me just. Oh, here you go, right here. Never mind.
It's a war going on.
Y'all go over there and check it out.
They keeping records on your phone. Just look up, you see them drones. They can GPS your home just to see if you home. You can turn your TV up, you'll see sex, drinking and drugs. Money, heard coming cold blood, play 16-year-old drugs. Ain't no more unless you get taught with the teacher speaking with a foul mouth. The kids getting handcuffed when they sleep, and the preacher bragging on what he thought. Ain't no gold, baby, these streets for some niggas don't believe this shit straight. There's no ask about the receipt when the niggas start talking about the big play. True or false, one nigga talk, 10 get caught, fuck you think. Man, this whole shit was rigged and blow up. Now they watching this fight. Might just go blind through a fog of lies, can't hear the bullshit neither. Only get a head chance, I'm 13, with the acting judge and the jury. Ain't no left field, so well field. Damn, this just quick. A lot of niggas talk about it, don't lift the finger, no action, take it just quick. But I got 1,000 words in this picture. What's that worth a few million? Like 9/11 was a cover up all the revenue to win missing. And from what I said, it might kill me. That's what I said, what I said, what I said. 3 million before they gon' put that chip in your head. There's a war going on. They keeping records on your phone. Just look up, you see them drones. They can GPS your home.
Yeah, y'all go over there. Go check out No One for the rest of that track. Fire music over there. And everybody in the building, I appreciate y'all. I guess that's about it. Y'all have a great night. Stay fresh and stay blessed, family. Peace out. Much love. Much love. Y'all stay here for the members only, starting in 1 minute. The preview of the Nipsey Hussle. And I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night, family. Peace out. your money. "10 seconds. We out, family. Much love. Y'all have a great night. Let's get it. Nipsey Hussle up next.
We'll be fine. Our kids will not be.
Ain't your money.